A ferocious dragon looking down on the earth like a great calamity descended. One of the three worlds, the underworld, was in grave danger. In the entire underworld, only one person could stand up to an ancient creature, one of the 12 princes of the underworld of Beikai. In order to save the underworld, he cultivated for more than 1 million years and eventually subdued the great calamity, but he passed away right after becoming the supreme ruler of the underworld and creating a military artifact. The former subordinates rebelled, countless treasures and territories were divided, so this same prince of Beikai is his ancestor who died and now he has to accept the inheritance. A guy named Lai Wu, who is 23 years old, sitting on a bench in a city park asked a question to a girl who came up to him. Some unknown girl started a conversation with him during his walk. Does she really think he's so naive? She shouted back at him in anger, she's not some girl. She's almost the same age as his ancestor. In short, not only must he accept the legacy, but he must also take revenge on the traitor. And the most important thing is to inherit the will of the Prince of Beikai, unify the underworld, and become its supreme ruler. This girl's name is Beilai, her age is unknown. Wu patted her head and asked, then can she help him by becoming his assistant? She was embarrassed with pleasure and said to him, her face flushed with emotion, yes. He answered her, great. Then, when they were done with the underworld and the heavens, they would be in charge of the 3 worlds. But she had to wait for him to call Qin Shi Huang and ask him for a few dozen people and horses. Lai yelled back at him, he's ignoring her and doesn't believe her at all. What if she punched him in the stomach and shouted, let him trick her? He was sick from being hit so hard, and she moved away from him and shouted that she would let him go to the underworld with her and then bring him back home. He said, she's so young, I've worn a lot with her. He tried to wipe his face with his hand, but suddenly realized something and wondered what. The underworld. One day, he saw a bright magic portal form in front of Lai and he shouted at her, girl, she shouldn't take everything to heart and is committing suicide. He doesn't want to die. While he was shouting about it, he was already being carried away in an unknown direction thanks to her magical powers, causing him to only scream. A moment later, they were in an unknown space. Wu fell to the ground, clutched his head, and said, it hurts, but what is this place? Suddenly, he saw a huge luxury house in front of him and shouted, who knew that all of this was true? Is he really a descendant of the Prince of Beikai? Then it's his, but before he could finish his sentence, Lai interrupted his utterance and replied, of course, this is already his domain, which was named after Beikai, the biggest in the underworld. He asked her again, so it turns out that he's the new owner of this. She replied, that's right, but now he must think of a way to reclaim the lost territories. He flexed his fists and shouted with a confident look, reclaiming the lost lands is more important, and taking revenge on the traitors is even more important. So, did the ancestor leave him a mighty army, an unsurpassed force, or a system? When its level increases, it will take over the entire underworld. Li turned to him and said, spreading her arms, there's nothing. As she said, he is a general without an army, he will have to start from scratch. He was very surprised by what was happening and shouted at her, what? Great ancestor, does he wish for his descendants to die? He turned towards the exit, waved at her, and said that he wouldn't become any ruler and they couldn't ask for someone else. Lai replied that although what he really wanted wasn't here, but he still had the war artifact in her. These words made him stop and turn around to look at her, and he said in response, although she doesn't seem to have any combat abilities, but this military artifact sounds pretty good. She replied, of course. It is the most powerful artifact in the underworld, and was created by its ancestor, Prince Beikai, to unite the entire underworld. Although the prince died just at the last stage of creating the artifact, she also took part in it, so she finished it, so it's definitely powerful. The power of the artifact is to use Kai-Yin to strengthen the body. As long as there is a soul, the body can be replaced at any time. As long as there are souls under control, there will be an immortal host of spirits. He put the ring on his finger and the system reported, the artifact is activated. The identity of the wearer is determined, the blood test is over. The wearer is a descendant of the Prince of Beikai, the binding of the artifact is taking place, the basic functions of the yin-yang body and soul are activated. He looked at his brightly shining finger in surprise due to the magic powers of the artifact and shouted loudly, this power is truly incredible. But where can he get so many souls? If this is not the case, then what will he need to do? Li looked at him questioningly and said hesitantly, she hadn't thought of that at all. Suddenly, tears flowed from her eyes and she began to sob loudly and scream through her screams. Without souls, artifact is useless, then you will have to look for many souls. He tried to calm her down, patted her head again and said, well, she doesn't need to cry, he thinks this is finally solved. Does she know what he was doing in his reality? She said through her remaining tears with embarrassment that she knew everything. Then opened her notebook and said, Lu Wu, 23 years old, then Prince of Beikai number 365, unsuccessfully ran his business for 3 years, famous as a loser, created a gaming site, lonely. He was taken aback by this description of his personality and shouted at her with a sense of shame not to expose his old failures. Does she know that he is a game creator, so his decision is as follows. If she can extend the artifact's functions and combine this with the game he created, then as long as players play the game, they will be able to summon their souls, and as long as the game is popular, they will have countless undead troops. Does she understand him? She responded by looking at him with her big eyes with great interest, of course. And in case of death, the player will be reborn thanks to the mechanics of the game. He told her with a puzzled expression that he expected her, a little girl, to understand all of this. She said to him with a smile, of course she lost at WoW. He said to her with a sad look, WoW is long dead, but creating a game based on the underworld is a big project. For example, a task guide, shop, dungeons, professions and classes, and so on. He kept stroking her head and she told him to leave it to her. Using Artifact, you can use Kaiyin and spiritual power to create various things, including building locations. Spiritual power is the main indicator of strength in the underworld. The more power, the more powerful the creature. Players can use this to level up, upgrade and buy. He asked her again, isn't that a perfect mechanic? She replied, the main thing is that they can extract spiritual power for the sake of increasing their power and restoring the palace. And they can also charge a commission for completing a mission, for example, somewhere around 20%. He answered her with a sly look, 30%. After a while, they entered the building and Lai said, this place was built by his ancestor and she helped him in this, so she will make some changes. At this moment, the entire interior of the building glowed with a bright magical light and she continued to say, although everything is dilapidated, it still feels like the grandeur of the past. So she just suggests to put everything in order. 2 hours later, Lai collapsed on the ground from exhaustion and said, they're finally done. Now you need to accurately link Artifact with its game. He replied with a smile, now they're coming back. After a while, they arrived at Lu Wu's apartment and began to discuss that everything was settled. Wu asked her again, is it really that easy? She replied, of course, with the soul extraction information, she connected to the game server. While the player downloads and launches the game, their souls are sent to the underworld via a virtual helmet. He told her it was really cool, but what would they call it? She replied, they will name it after the artifact war on the net. He told her it was great, then their game would be called that way. The system window reports War on the Net. Description: this game has been developed for 10 years. It's just perfect. GTA and LOL are not worth it. Warning, there is no replenishment of the balance in the game. Admission is free. Now, they should just wait for the spiritual power to be gathered. 2 hours later, nothing has changed, with 0 downloads, comments, and likes. Lee wondered why everything was happening this way. It's been so long and no one has downloaded this game. Wu laughed and said, his little website really doesn't have many visitors, she shouldn't be in a hurry. She shouted to him, something is very bad, because they don't have much time. East of the Beikai Palace is Lilai district. The ghost general Sha Na is in the main palace. He has more than 500,000 soldiers under his command and his army is still growing. No one knows when he plans to attack, but if the main city disappears, then they will collapse. His soul will be torn apart and he won't be able to be reborn. He shouted at her in horror. What did she say? Why hadn't she talked about something so important before? Why? Where will he find 500,000 players now? And even if he did, would they torture him too? Suddenly, they heard some sound from the server and looked at the system window that says that the player Van Darholm is logged into the server. They were very surprised by this and wondered what. Did someone really come? Some guy put on a virtual helmet and wondered if there was a war on the net. Which game dares to claim 100% immersion? Even the most popular game Atlantis is only 55% realistic. This online war is just bragging rights, a scam. You need to look at pro players who will immediately see through the fake. This guy's name is Van Damon. He is a pro player of the game Atlantis. Wu wondered if players would really believe that the game was 100% accurate. Oi punched him in the stomach with incredible force again and asked if he doubted her. She was only telling the truth. He cleared his throat and shouted at her, why does a little girl have such power? He's in a lot of pain. Pain? It turns out that the pain is 100% transmitted. Wai told him that he should calm down. She had thought about it beforehand, so the players would feel a little less pain. She turned her attention to a player who had arrived and asked him to look at him because he had already started. Damon looked around. He felt some drops rolling down on his face and wondered if it was raining blood. But it's dripping all over his face. Suddenly he screamed. He can feel the rain dripping on his body. Is this all true? Even Atlantis can't do that. He's afraid it's not a game at all. Was he dead? He died of an electric shock from touching his helmet and ended up here. The system reports, during the Great Calamity, Prince Beikai died, saving many lives. After his death, the subjects who betrayed him divided up his lands. He, as a descendant of the Prince of Beikai, should go on a journey to recover the lost ones. The journey begins. Young master, he should choose his own class. Damon looked in surprise at the image of the majestic Prince of Beikai with an incredibly huge weapon in his hands. He can choose the class warrior, assassin, mage. Damon carefully looked at the system window, grinned and said, it's all right. This is just a game, but building the initial scene can't be just 800 megabytes. Somehow, he was the first to discover this treasure. As a pro player, he predicts that it will definitely be popular, but why doesn't he see the healer class? Wu and Lai, in turn, began to discuss what was happening as a duo of scammers, and Wu said, spreading his hands, they did their best. Lai also chuckled with a flask of liquid in her hand and said, that's right. If there is a healer, then why do you need potions from the store? How will they earn money without it? Damon made a thoughtful look and said out loud, the warrior is an attacking type, Mac is a ranged fighter, and the killer is stealthy, probably he will take the killer. Born in a dream, living in darkness, walking on a knife's edge, this is a stealthy killer. He saw a lot of magic rays around him and shouted, how great is this? He feels a surge of strength. At the moment of the novice assassin, you can feel improvements in the agility of the body. He can't wait for the newbie mission to start. The system reports that the rookie mission is to kill 10 wandering souls with a reward of 5 soul coins. Wu said, Bailai, isn't this newbie costume too weak? The player can easily equip this and clear out enemies. System reports, map research 0.01%, Ghost Mountain, Beikai Palace. Lai replied that they expect the player to hunt monsters and accumulate spiritual power by upgrading equipment for money. Damon took a deep breath and said, wandering souls must be weak monsters. For a professional player like him, it will be done in a matter of minutes. He threw on a special cape and shouted, time to show the special technique. Now a professional player will show a demonstration. At this moment, when he started the game, he found himself surrounded by fossils and bright light rays and thought with fright, what a horror, he even has goosebumps from these sounds and atmosphere. Even the details in this game are so realistic. He said to himself while his body was shaking, he shouldn't be afraid of this, it's just a game, Van Darholm, he's a professional player, he should focus. At that moment, something alerted him and he felt a limb close to him. It was a snake monster that spoke loudly to him in an ominous voice, so it has a soul and it smells delicious. Damon was dumbfounded, then turned around abruptly and the snake was already attacking him and he shouted, is this a wandering soul? Why are monsters for beginners so scary? What a horror, it's almost like the bosses in other games, after all, and this is too reckless. He took some distance away from the monster, grabbed a sword in his hands, and said, is this a wandering soul? Of course, no matter how real this monster may seem to him, but this is just a mob for beginners. Snake shouted at him that he was just a bastard, dare to underestimate it. It will definitely bite him now. Damon squinted at the monster's attacks and tried to avoid the attacks, but everything was happening too fast and he screamed, is it the soul that got angry? Even the emotions are so intense and real. This is incredible. But it's no use getting angry. Suddenly, he started to turn away from all the attacks of the snake and kept shouting that he was a professional player and the snake was too weak for him. This monster was unlucky enough to meet him. Little soul. The serpent shouted back, humans are so powerful. It seems that you need to use a lethal strike. Damon pointed his finger at him to get closer to him and said, come on, let him see how strong his so-called killing blow is. The snake pounced on him, using a ghost strike to attack Damon, causing him to cry out, what a horror. He was completely careless. He was thrown to the side due to the heavy impact, as the serpent threw a second ghost strike and Damon shouted while he was in space before hitting the ground, a two-step monster strike for beginners. And he doesn't even have skill 1. He landed with a crash and screamed, wow. All his clothes came off and he was in his underpants. The system reported that the strength of the equipment is 0%, health is 2%. He thought at this moment that the equipment has not only a durability setting, but also a damage assessment. It's too real, however, it only has 2% health, it has no reason to be afraid, just one hit. Wandering soul health 2%. Suddenly, he stood up from the ground, grabbed his sword, glared at the monster menacingly, and shouted, Lao Zai, a professional player who has experienced countless battles, he won't die in the initial location. He rushed to run and attack the monster, shouting that this creature should watch, Lao Tzu will show him a decent last blow. After such an arrogant self-address, his foot caught on a growth on the ground and he stumbled to the ground with a crash right on his face. His health is 0%. The system reports that Darholm has died and there are only 3 hours left until the rebirth. After this situation, Lai laughed and shouted, this can't be happening. He calls himself a professional player, but he can't even kill an initial monster. Wu said with a smile as he wrote something down in his notebook. Equipment strength needs to be adjusted and environmental damage needs to be discarded. By the way, Bailai, why exactly 3 hours? She replied, it's because the player's body in the underworld is also sealed with Kaiyin. But after the soul is dispelled, it returns to the main body very quickly, so it can cause a lot of damage, so a break is needed. He replied that he understood everything. At that moment, Damon held his head and shouted, did he die because of some rock? This is so real that it's even outrageous. Fortunately, no one saw it. Otherwise, he would have lost face as a professional player, and most of all, he is annoyed by these 3 hours of rebirth. Why is the game free? But this is just a treasure, he can't let someone else succeed before him. Meanwhile, in Atlantis, a closed group, Van Darholm writes to the interviewees, "Guys, he found a very cool game and plans to quit Atlantis. He sent a link to the game in the chat and signed, 'This is a war on the web, they should try it, they don't even know how much fun it is.'" A user called One Soul Strike replied, "It seems like he's gone crazy." Invincible Berserker replied, "He thinks they need to recruit a new assassin. Demon is so fickle, so let him go where he wants." Demon replied that he should not be provoked, they just need to try it, and he will give 10,000 coins to everyone. If they do not like this game, he will still stream. The user wrote against the wind, but when you took him in and fed him. One Invincible Berserker wrote that the game was downloaded by him. They will return in 5 minutes to slap him and collect the money. The system reports player 1 Soul Strike has joined the game, player Against the Wind has joined the game, player Invincible Peach has joined the game. A lot of players joined the game and looked around in surprise and shouted, "What a horror, is this really an 800 megabyte game? Everything is so real." Van Darholm didn't lie to them, it's a good game. The company of this game is ready to take over the world of games. They need to watch out, there's a monster out there. The monster said, laughing, "Fresh delicious souls, he'll eat it all up." The surrounding guys were very scared when they saw such a sinister monster, and one of them shouted, "What a terrifying monster is standing in front of them, why is this game so real? Hurry up, they need to get out of here." Someone screamed, "Running Dick. He needs to choose his class as quickly as possible, they are professional players and still afraid of the monster for beginners. Brothers, they should all go after him and kill this terrible monster." The other guy shouted back at him, "That's right, this game is so real that it almost tricked Lao Tzu, isn't it a monster for beginners? They need to kill it." The system notifies, "Urinate Against the Wind Mage, One-Hit Ball Berserker." Someone replied that it was good and they joined forces to attack the monster. Wu and Lai were watching the whole thing with curiosity and interest, and Lai turned to Lu Wu and asked him to look at it. It seems that the players are happy with everything. They succeeded. He replied with a deep sigh, "They adjusted very quickly. The team game reached a tacit understanding. Is this really a professional team?" Invincible Berserker wrote a message before entering the game saying that he downloaded the game. In 5 minutes they will return to slap him in the face. He is already waiting for the money. Demon replied to him, 5 minutes have passed, does he still want to hit him? It's been 10 minutes, are they even human? 20 minutes, you assholes, did they enjoy it so much? They should be answered. Are they all dumb or something? He became very angry and continued to write furious messages for 30 minutes. And they don't want to wait for him. Do they even remember that it was he who recommended this game to them? One of the players pointed his sword at the monster and shouted for it to die, then turned to all the brothers and said, "These were the last wandering souls." He suggests that you first get a reward for the mission and increase the power of the squad. The system window reports that they have successfully defeated 30 souls and the newbie task is completed. The system congratulates the player called One Sword Strike, the level has been upgraded. Received a reward plus 5 soul coins. The player looked at his hands, which were illuminated by magic light, and shouted, "Wow, this feeling when leveling up is absolutely not the same as in other games, it's as if he feels data changes." The level of this game allows him to feel the strengthening of body characteristics, and these changes are simply incredible. Other players also started shouting, discussing the new game, that it's very cool, will they be able to feel superhuman strength? The guy replied, "Exactly, if their level continues to increase, then this feeling will continue to get stronger." The rest of the guys agreed with this and continued to discuss that this is really cool. Someone decided to buy something in the store and opened the system window and clicked on the first level store button. The system reports that a level 2 store will open from level 20, and a level 3 store will open from level 40. After that, several items from the store appeared in front of the guy. The system began to report that the Ogre Club level 1 will change for sale, 8 coins of coins are required to upgrade to level 2. A mana recovery potion after using a mage spell recovers strength, cost 1 coin. Magic Iron level 1 requires 9 coins to upgrade to level 2. He began to reason, he now has 14 coins, just enough to buy any weapons. It's a good thing he didn't choose a mage, because the equipment is too expensive for them. He carefully examined the club and the system reports after a while, he bought the Ogre Club weapon and also spent 8 coins on it. The system thanks them for their purchase. He grabbed a huge club with nails stuck in his hands, after which he laughed out loud and shouted with an incredible smile on his face, having received a new weapon, he feels much stronger. Brothers, he will help them clean up the souls in the novice village. The others and the players were very happy with these words and shouted that it was very cool. They raised their hands in the air to support the player and one of them shouted that he also wants to raise his level and also wants to feel the elevation like him. Lai turned to Wu and said, according to her settings, after a player kills monsters, the power of a monster's soul is divided into 3 parts. 60% is spent on experience, 10% on coins, and another 30% on drops. Wu carefully listened to her words and assessed the situation from the side, saying, That is, with 30 monster souls, he can earn 27 coins. There was a look of joy in her eyes and she said in an emotional rush, in addition, each player purchased in the store will be charged a percentage because all items are sold with the price increased by 30%. Wu spread his hands and said with the same joyful expression, the more all these players buy things, the more he gets, it's really a win-win for them. Suddenly he started shouting loudly, the players are enjoying the game, and he in turn is enjoying the money received from their purchases, and thanks to this, everyone is happy. This game is their future. Suddenly, Wu grabbed Lai and threw her up out of joy and shouted to her that she was just a genius, his little Bei Lai. She laughed at his words and they continued to spend their time with a great mood and enthusiasm. Meanwhile, the ghost mountain shone with a bright magical light. A huge magic circle formed in the sky from which lightning came out and struck directly on the desolate parts of the Earth's surface. The system notifies that this is a reminder that the player who entered the Ghost Mountain location has named a new side quest to kill the elite mob evil spirit. All players who take part in the quest will receive an additional 3 coins, and the drop can be exchanged in the store. One of the players after hearing this said that this is great, mini-boss. They shouldn't have worried about their lack of experience. A female player with a gun spoke up, but where should they look for this mob? This is a ghost mountain, they look very much. But before she could finish, all the guys were dumbfounded and very scared of something because of the sight they saw in front of them. It was a sinister monster with incredibly large horns, fangs, and bright eyes that glowed with anger. This monster met them with delight and said very loudly, people dared to invade its territory, are they really looking for death? This was the elite mob evil spirit. The player who was walking at the very beginning stopped abruptly, became alert because of what he saw and shouted to the others that this bridge has appeared, its level is the highest, so it will go first to attack, and they should cover it. The other guys behind him shouted back that they had heard him. Yes. He shouted to them as he continued his attack on the monster. They should pay attention to this monster's attacks and evasion. They shouldn't skimp on recovery potions. There are a lot of them. They should still attack even if they have low damage. The other players told him that they understood everything and continued to attack the monster together, surrounding the creature from all sides. And because of this, the monster lit up with bright light rays and everything around flew apart from the fierce struggle between them. Wu and Lai were watching the entire scene from a nearby spot behind some boulders. Wu got out of this position a bit to make it easier to observe what was going on and turned to Bei Lai, saying, isn't it too early for battles with elite monsters? She looked at him with a smile and said with a completely calm expression, no, this is a group and players are stronger than they expected. Low-level souls can't stop them, that's why they should give them a new incentive, and this elite monster will also get a useful drop. He was surprised by her words and asked again, and what will it be? She looked away with a smirk and said to him, she wants to keep it a secret, he will find out soon anyway. At this moment, the monster roared loudly. This creature had a length of 1 horn and it screamed, the insects seemed to have come to die. The evil spirit's health was only 2%. Everything around glowed with a bright light, the monster became very angry and the rest of the players flew away at an incredible speed. That strongest player stopped nearby, tried to catch his breath from such an attack, and shouted loudly, what a horror, the potion is over. They were so close to finishing off this creature, were all these actions for nothing? What a horror. Someone laughed out loud and suddenly the monster was dumbfounded, very much on guard for something. At this moment, Demon himself arrived and shouted to them with a sinister smile, they freaks came here without him to farm monsters. So it's their fault that they can't handle this creature without him. The players were surprised by his appearance and shouted back, Mandarhome. When did he get here? He shouted back to them. The main character came at the most critical moment to save them. He went to attack the monster with sharp knives and daggers in both hands, causing a bright magical light to form from it, and the other players shouted at him, asking the question, does he want to save them? Obviously, he just wants to collect the winnings. The monster roared loudly after its attack and the evil spirit's health dropped to 0%. One of the guys looked at their glowing magical bodies and shouted, he's leveled up. This is so cool, its power has really changed. Everyone was beside themselves with surprise at what was happening and everyone decided to pay attention to the fact that she had dropped from the monster. It was a bright magic ball called a ghost sphere, which can be sold in the store for 28 coins. Someone shouted, is this bead worth that much? You need to sell it faster. The system window notifies about a side quest called medicinal material. All medicinal materials can be sold in the store and get coins according to the value of materials. Materials range from low to high level, ordinary level, spiritual level, royal level, divine level. Monster Hunter side quest, rewards 30 coins. On Ghost Mountain you need to kill 30 wandering souls, 20 soul eaters, 20 skeleton warriors, 10 ghost wolves, 2 elite warriors. Achievement for elevation called strong, reward 30 coins. You need to reach level 20, get blue evaluation equipment. The players started shouting with joy that they had a new mission. They should continue and collect even more coins. 60. Wu spoke up. He gave them so many quests to keep them occupied, but Bei Lai, did she mention this bead? Why is this necessary? She told him that he should eat it and find out about it. He took it in his mouth and asked her again, and that was it. Eat so eat, but this taste is kind of strange, even a little nasty. Suddenly, he felt something amiss, his entire body lit up with a bright magical light. He carefully examined himself and shouted loudly, "What is this feeling?" His body is on fire, but he is very warm and comfortable. Was it designed to strengthen and improve his body? Wai replied with a smile, "That's for sure. Although he is a descendant of the Prince of Beikai, his physique is ordinary. They should use an artifact like this to improve his body." He flexed his arms and shouted back at her with a sly smile on his face, "This is very cool, then what are they waiting for? They must try harder and attract more players, so they need to avenge his ancestor as soon as possible and unite the underworld." The system informs the rest of the players that they have been playing for 12 hours and they should prepare to exit the game. One of the players shouted, "What a horror, is this a time limit? Does the game care too much about them? 12 hours. How would he feel if he just came in here? Wait, he only needs 15 coins to buy a bone cutter." They grabbed his head from such news and Damon with the same horrifying look shouted, "What a horror. He just received new tasks. Can it be extended? Or they have to give money?" Wu turned to Beilai and said, "They've created so many newbie tasks, why did she program a forced exit?" She replied to him, "Of course, so that they would be fine. Although their souls are entering the underworld, their bodies are still in reality. If they stay here any longer, then their bodies simply won't be able to withstand it." Wu replied, he understood everything, so it's for their further development. Suddenly Damon was in his room in a very tired state. He received a notification that he had successfully logged out of the game. He said, "Judging by the spasm, all this is perfect. Does life have any meaning if you can't play war on the net? It's all agony. There's nothing in this world agonizing expectations." He looked at his computer screen and was surprised by something, saying, "The boss sent something, but what is it?" "This is Mr. Wang's Team 5. Boss Wang dropped the message. Assholes, what are they doing? Why aren't they calling it Atlantis today? The team competition is coming up soon, and they're scum who don't increase their experience, so did they really stop wanting to participate? The employee has to work, their boss is working and they think that's enough. He doesn't want to hear their excuses. Everyone has to be online in 30 seconds or fail." Damon silently looked at the screen and wrote a message with a smile on his face. "They did not sign the contract. He is leaving. They are all human beings and require an appropriate treatment for themselves." Wang replied, "That's amazing. Now he's delusional, a freak, wants to ascend. If he wants to get out of here, then let him do it." After this message, Van Darholm left the conversation and Van wrote, "And there are enough people without him. The black sheep spoils the whole flock. Everyone else must quickly enter Atlantis." User One Hit of the Soul wrote, "Boss, maybe he won't believe it, but he liked another game and he also wants to leave." User Urinate Against the Wind wrote, "Boss, he won't believe it, but he thinks exactly the same." The Strongest Pair wrote, "Boss, he won't believe him either, but he leaves with them." Vaughn replied after a moment of silence, "All right, he knows they're joking. They should all log in online immediately. And what is this game that could be better than Atlantis?" The user Most Powerful Pair dropped a screenshot of the game War on the Network and a description of this game. Wang replied, "Only 800 megabytes, this little game has no future." They should remember that Atlantis is one of the most popular games right now. The market share is 8% and the estimated reality level is 55%. If they don't like what he says, they shouldn't make any noise, he will raise their salary. After this message, One Hit the Soul and Urinate Against the Wind left the conversation. Ban became alert after these notifications, after which he turned to the user Grusha and asked the question, "Is he still here? Really, it's just him? He has to look at these guys? The craziness is transmitted over the internet." User Strongest Pair replied, "A single man and a woman can't coexist together yet." After this message, the Strongest Pair also left the conversation. Vaughn reacted with bewilderment to everything that was happening. The next day, one of the players said, after leaving Atlantis, they are creating a team in the network war. Does anyone have any regrets? Damon replied, "No regrets, Captain. The potential of this game is huge. They are the first players in this game. They have a big advantage." Is he afraid that they won't make any money later? A girl named Sazli, who has the name of the Strongest Pair, answered, "Right, she wanted to give it to me, but she didn't find a way to do it. It's sad." All the players gathered at the same table and a user named P Against the Wind, whose name is Wang Kao, said, "This just shows that the creator of the game is not short of money. Isn't this a way for them to make money? Soul coins are not enough in this game. First they save up, then spend it, their hard-earned money." Chen Zioi, user One Soul Strike replied, "They said everything correctly. Only one thing bothers him. He searched a lot of sites, but could not find a single advertisement for this game. What is this company thinking? Then there is only one option. The creator of the game really has a lot of money." While Wu and Lai were eating noodles on the floor, Lai sobbed and said, "Lu Wu, he's really poor." He patted her head again and replied with a smile, "They lie. She should wait until they have more players. Then they will go eat sea delicacies. He will definitely fatten her up so that she will turn into a pear." She whispered with a sad expression that she didn't like to get fat. Suddenly, some idea came to Wu's mind and he said, by the way, Bailai, as a rule, game companies earn money from donates, how about implementing this system? She replied by slamming her hand down on the table that they can't do it. Coins from the network are quite rare and the player needs to try hard to get it. They can't miss the main thing, they need to find a way to expand their audience so that more players get into this game. He spoke back to her, but just like she said, it's very poor, really very poor, not to mention a high traffic platform that costs a lot of money to promote. She asked him in fright, then what do they need to do? She wants other food to eat, not just instant noodles. He looked at her with a serious look and said, she's crying like a child again, she should calm down, he has an idea. She asked him again, what's the idea? He shouted, this is to join an event. Last night he looked through a lot of sites on the internet and finally found this event. The system reports, the best game is new. To find the best game of the year, the 173 platform has launched a vote to promote games. Some registered game sites can choose one game of their own production to participate in the competition. During voting, all participating games will be evaluated by game reviewers on this platform using a 10-point system. All games with 8 or more points will be advertised on the main page of this platform for 1 day, after which there will be a vote among players. The contest will last for 30 days. Please note that all rights to host this event belong to the gaming platform 173. For more detailed information, click to view. Wu began to comment, the prize for the first place in the voting was a 10-day advertisement on the main page of the platform, and as a bonus, a 5-minute video with a demonstration of the game's graphics. Second place 5 days of advertising, third 2 days. They lie, does she know what is most important? She asked him what. He replied, this is an event and absolutely free. She asked him with a sly look, then what are they waiting for? The system notifies you about the successful submission of the application. The best game new event has been successfully submitted and is under consideration. Please wait for this. You will receive a response within 3 to 5 days. Meanwhile, the head office of Platform 173, some guy sitting on a chair and holding a virtual helmet in his hands, said, another garbage game. How dare they participate in the best new game event? A waste of time, 2 points is all he deserves. This guy's name is Mu Qingshui, and he's a critic of Platform 173. Then he said, trash game, what do you call it? Suddenly, something alerted him and he saw a war on the network game for 800 megabytes. He leaned back in his chair and said, this isn't even trash anymore, it's a completely low quality scam. Okay, he'll go in there, record the review, and give you 1 point. When he entered the game, he was very surprised by what was happening and thought with incredible bewilderment, how is this possible? 12:0 later, he successfully logged out of the game. He said in a disheveled state, this is so cool, this game suits him very well, just like fate. 10 points, exactly 10. The only sad moments is the limit of 12 hours, this is not enough for him, he wants to play more. Suddenly, he called the president of Platform 173 named Wu Goi and spoke. He reports, boss, this is Mu Qingshui, Worker 387, game appraiser for the event. He discovered a treasure. This is a new game. He can't find the words to describe it, but it will definitely help them grow quickly and make their platform #1 in the country. He sent a link to his email address. Goy wondered, an 800 megabyte treasure. Is he kidding? Now there are popular reality-like games on the market, and all these games weigh at least 50 gigabytes, he's wasting his time. Qingshui shouted at him one last time, boss, he shouldn't be mad, he's asking to try playing this first, if he's still not satisfied after that, then he'll apply for dismissal. Goy put on a virtual helmet and said, he, Wu Goi, has played a huge number of games and now it is not so easy to surprise him. What kind of game can satisfy him? He's afraid that such a thing doesn't even exist in this world. The system informs him that he has successfully connected to the game, welcome. When he was inside the space, he looked around and was very surprised, wondering how this was possible. He had never seen such a realistic game in his life. This is a masterpiece, this game will definitely become popular. Noon of the second day, Li and Wu were sitting at a table eating. Wai thanked him and said that she could finally eat something other than noodles, this fried rice is delicious. Suddenly someone called Wu and he picked up the phone and asked who it was. Wu Goi greeted him and asked, is he the owner of the online war game? He's the person in charge of Platform 173, so he wants to discuss something with him when he has some free time. He rubbed his eyes tiredly and thought that he had been playing all night, and if it wasn't for the 12-hour forced exit mechanism, he probably wouldn't have known that it was almost noon, so he had to urgently call the game creator. Wu replied that he was free right now, so he could come over. Goi was surprised and thought, did the other party agree so easily? He definitely has the opportunity. As long as he controls the game, the company will grow rapidly. He replied that let him tell you where he is, and he will fly to him. Wu agreed and thought, is he really coming to meet you in person? It looks like he really liked the game. He sent him the address, and then Goi called again and said it was such a coincidence. They were in the same city, so he would be there in about 20 minutes. Is this the right time for him? Wu agreed, and Lai asked the chef for another serving. Exactly 20 minutes later, an expensive car pulled up and Goi got out of it. He said hello and said his name was Wu Goi. He was in charge of platform 173, he was looking for him. The diner cook was surprised and thought, is he really awake? This sick boss who got out of a supercar is going to buy his fried rice counter. But all his dreams were shattered when Goi approached Wu and asked if they could talk. The cook suddenly felt sad, as if he had lost a lot of money. Lai told them to take their time, let them wait until she finished eating, and then go. Goi asked Wu who it is. Wu replied that it was his little sister. Goi turned to her, calling her a cute girl, and said they could change places. He knew where they could eat better. Li asked if it was true. Goi confirmed these words and they went to another restaurant. Lai turned around to look at the half-eaten fried rice, but Wu said that walking down the road, she needed to look ahead. She immediately turned her gaze forward and agreed. After a while, they entered the grounds of an expensive restaurant and Wu asked, isn't this the best restaurant in Yahello? They say that even those who have a lot of money, it is difficult to book seats here. They sat down at a table and the waiter said that the bluefin tuna dishes in front of them would have a richer taste when combined with this 6,800 yuan bottle of fine alcohol. Li of course agreed, and Wu thought one bottle of alcohol costs 68.0. This man must be very rich. When he heard that Lai agreed, he said that young children should not drink alcohol. They started eating and Goi asked, did he create this game on his own? Wu was flustered and thought that he had just used the artifact and created the game instantly. He remained silent and the Goyim asked, can't you answer? It's okay, he shouldn't have asked about internal secrets, so he's apologizing for that. They'd better have a drink. He thought they should get straight to the point. He told Wu that he would be honest, he appreciated his game and liked it very much, so he wants to buy it. He can set the price himself, he will pay. Wu took a sip of the alcohol and thought that he knew that from the very beginning, he was only interested in buying the game. He replied that he couldn't sell it, the development of this game required more effort from their team, and he doesn't plan to sell it. Goi called the price at 10 billion and asked, how about this? Wu's body quivered in anticipation of 10 billion yuan and he imagined how he was bathed in money. But he calmed down and put the glass of alcohol on the table, thinking that he was poor, not stupid. If the game becomes popular, it will bring much more than 10 billion. Wu apologized to him and said that they were developing this game for fun, not for money. Goi called the price at 15 billion and Wu thought that even if he wanted to sell this game, he wouldn't be able to. The underworld is real, this game is tied to it, without its artifact, no one can control it. He said that to be honest, their team really isn't going to sell this game, love and dreams are priceless. Lai, quickly eating the food, agreed with Wu and said that they don't sell it. Wu thought about 15 billion, his soul aches and tears come to his eyes. Goi was surprised and thought that the young lad would be easily persuaded, but he didn't expect him to be so decisive. You can see maturity and foresight in him, he is a cut above his peers. This is interesting, as if he saw himself in his youth. He said that in such a case, he would pay him 100 million a year if he published the game only on their platform. Wu looked at him and thought that he had promised Lai that he would avenge Beikai and unite the entire world, so the number of players matters. If he agreed to Goi's offer, it would definitely limit the growth in the number of players. He apologized to him and said that he still couldn't agree, but he is willing to cooperate exclusively with his platform for 2 months, provided that they put the game on the main page. Goi thought that he was completely out of his rhythm and took the lead in the negotiations. This young man is really hard to deal with. He said that he really knows how to run a business, although he is difficult to deal with, but he agrees, he is sure that his game will become a hit. In addition, at the event Best New Game, regardless of the results, he will receive a bonus in the form of a demonstration of graphics. This position is their most expensive method of promotion, and if he puts his computer game graphics here, it's bound to attract a lot of players. Wu smiled and thought, a computer graphics demonstration. This is a really good way to attract attention. They clinked glasses together and Wu said that then he wanted to thank him and wish him a happy collaboration. After that, Lai said that she was full and very happy. They need to prick the iron while it's hot, so they'll go home and work on the game. When they got home, Lai showed him the map and told him that there used to be 3 ghost kings and 10 transparent generals under the command of Prince Beikai. After his death, the whole of Beiki was divided into 13 regions. Their territory is in the east, and the nearest one belongs to the ghost general Cha Na. Wu said he remembers her saying that he could invade at any moment. Once the main city falls, it will all be over and it will never be reborn. So it's decided, they'll strike first. Their original main mission is to reclaim their territory from the hands of the ghost general Cha Na. Lai agreed and said that they would definitely win. Wu replied that it was mandatory. The level to start the main mission must be at least the 15th, otherwise, he is afraid players will not be able to cope even with ghost soldiers, not to mention forming any large-scale combat power. Although an NPC can significantly improve the quality of the game, it is easy to create it with the help of artifacts. But how to give NPCs intelligence so that they act autonomously is a bit more difficult. Lai said it wasn't difficult, so let him leave it to her. The underworld is the destination of living things. They can search for those beings who have just been born in the underworld and have yet to manifest spiritual intelligence. They can use the artifact to reorganize their soul and give them a new memory and mission. Wu asked, but where would he look for such souls? She replied that creatures after death will randomly respawn in the underworld. They will be able to give players a task to find newborn souls and make them an NPC. After all, the more people, the greater their power. Wu smiled and said it wasn't a bad idea. They entered the underworld and the system reported the permanent quest Soul Collector. Players need to find initial souls born in random locations and sell them in the store. The price of each initial soul is 100 coins. Wu said that the task is ready, then computer graphics. He needs to make sure that the charm of the game is reflected in the computer graphics and attracts the player's attention. This is the most important and difficult thing. But it's not a problem for him, he can feel his blood boiling. Lee said she was glad he was talking enthusiastically, but he hadn't forgotten one of the most important things. If he wants to make a high-quality trailer that shocks players, shouldn't he spend a lot of money? He's so poor, what should they do? Wu told her to stop saying that. Let her calm down, he'd already figured out what to do. They don't need to hire a professional team and spend money on creating computer graphics. This world, from rivers and mountain peaks to flowers, is real, it just needs to use an artifact, collect yin and restore its former greatness. The lanterns lit up and the inscription Prince Beikai appeared on the sign. Wu said that then he just uses this instead of computer graphics and eventually it's the main character's turn. He turned into the Prince of Beikai and Lai started hugging him. She said there could be no mistake. This appearance and behavior is the same as that of a real prince. How did he learn to control the artifact so quickly? Finally, someone inherits the will of the Prince of Beikai. Wu told her not to waste time, this uniform won't last long, so they need to get started faster. An army appeared in the sky and Wu said that the actors are on the ground, let her start. She agreed and thought that since the artifact was related to the game, all she needed to do was use the VR helmet screen recording and film it all. Wu is so smart. A dragon approached Wu and called him the prince, asking if he was really the one who could protect his people. Let the people of Beiki prepare to perish. Wu in the role of the prince said that if he wants to fight, then let him fight. He turned to his soldiers and asked them what they thought. They all replied in unison that they want to fight. Wu told them to follow him and they would win. They joined the battle, and after the battle, there were a lot of corpses left. Wu in the role of the prince defeated the army and said that this is just a small thing. How boring it is. The dragon said that he underestimated him too much. He deserves to be a prince, but he has already spent all his strength. The battle is far from over. He spewed fire from his mouth and told him to accept his death. Someone told the prince to be more careful, but he was able to hold out against the dragon flames and the dragon called him an idiot, exclaiming how dare he ignore his dragon flames and just stand there. Let him die. Wu asked, why would he be afraid of such a weak dragon? Beiki belongs only to the people of Beiki. The dragon asked, would he sacrifice himself? He knew that he couldn't handle it, so he wanted to sacrifice his life from the start and then take it with him. He hates it. Immediately after that, a massive explosion rang out and the army of Prince Worried called out to him. The surviving warriors said that they had finally won, but the prince was no longer with them. Then who should they serve now? Suddenly, in the prince's estate, a baby was heard crying, which was lying on the sheets. The soldiers heard this and one of them raised the baby above him and said that the prince was dead. Long live the new prince. Wu said it's all taken down. After a while, in the office of Platform 173, Goi said that the reason he had gathered all of them here was because of a very important meeting. He hopes everyone can give their opinion later. Now they will officially start. Suddenly, Mu Qingshui burst into the meeting room and asked for forgiveness. One of the employees asked him what he was doing here. Let him get out, his position doesn't allow him to be here. The Goyim said that it was he who invited him. The guy immediately left and Goi said that because he was the one who discovered the game war on the net. The other guy scratched his head in puzzlement and asked, what is he saying? The girl said that this game is participating in their competition. Another guy asked, is this a novelty item that caught Mr. Wu's attention? Why hadn't he heard about it? Goi asked Mu Qingshui to show everyone the trailer and he agreed. He said that he had already uploaded the video, so let them put on a VR helmet to evaluate the graphics. The girl asked why. This is the first time they have discussed this in such meetings. A few minutes later, they were crying with happiness and the girl said that Prince Beikai is the best, he is so beautiful. Another employee asked, does the introduction say this video is recorded inside the game? Is this really true? Are there really any games where the screen display accuracy exceeds the accuracy of computer graphics? The guy asked, is this a great game made with computer graphics? This really shocks him. Another employee said that he wants to play it right now. Have them send this game to him immediately. After a while, Wu's phone received a call from Goi. He said he watched his trailer, honestly, he can't believe it. How did they do it so quickly? Didn't they prepare it beforehand? Wu confirmed his words and Goi said that this game shocks him. Everyone in their company loved it. Both the picture and sound effects are excellent, but one thing is still missing for perfection. Lai heard this and immediately turned her gaze to Wu. He asked what they were missing. Goi replied that they don't have enough background music. They need atmospheric music. If they want to achieve perfection, then they should add a good soundtrack. Suddenly, Wu realized that he had completely forgotten about it. He ended the call and Lee said they'd forgotten about it, so how do they add quality music if he's a beggar? He asked her if she would ever stop saying that again. He thought that this was a big problem, because in addition to the background music for the game, there is also theme music. Is there a way to create music without spending money? He called Goei and he said it wasn't a problem, he needed to find a songwriter and singer. Wu replied that he still thought it was better to let the players rate the game. He thought the problem was that he didn't have enough money to pay. Music and all that sort of stuff will wait until they have enough money, and then they'll think about it. Lee whispered that she believed him of course, but if he was poor, then let him say so. Goei think that it turns out that Wu created the music for the game because of such peculiar reflections. Indeed, from the point of view of 100% reality of the game, Wu's words make sense, he didn't even think about it. He said that there was one piece of good news that he wanted to share, even though it was a matter of course. The results of the evaluation have already been published. The evaluators selected 15 games with 8 or more points, of which 3 games received 9 points or higher. His game War on the Net was awarded 10 points by all the evaluators. They are in first place. Starting tomorrow, the ranking of these 15 games will be determined by the players. Online War will be officially launched on their 173 platform tomorrow. He is sure that the game will have a lot of fans. Hearing this, Wu and Lai clapped their hands and she praised him. After that, he thought that the players would vote. He was looking forward to it. They went to the portal and it said that since the game will be officially released on platform 173, they should create the first NPC. Lai agreed with him and they went through the portal. Lee said that regarding this NPC, she recommends creating an NPC guide for beginners. Wu replied that he thought so too. But other than that, he hopes that this NPC will have their own hobbies and thoughts to enrich their game. Those initial souls that players sold in the store can't be used to create NPCs with a soul and consciousness. Lai said that the initial soul is still pure, let him use spiritual power to transform it into a human form. Wu agreed and said that besides guiding the players, the perfect NPC might even have fans among the players. He started creating a character and Lee asked, does he want to create a beauty? He created a blonde man and Lai asked, did he create a male NPC? Although he is a handsome man. Wu said that a hunk would attract female players and they would attract guys. 2 birds with 1 stone. Suddenly, there was an explosion with this NPC in the center and Wu said that he was just created and he was already so strong. Lai said that he was separated by a full-fledged soul because of his Kai. The NPC landed on the ground and she said that she just remembered that she forgot to say one important thing. Since it is a real person with full consciousness, it will be able to attack them. Wu told her to calm down, he had thought of that beforehand. The NPC knelt in front of them and said that his name was Lu Mo. He was happy to meet the descendant of the Prince of Beikai. Lai said his name in surprise and Wu said that he was the adopted son of the Prince of Beikai, Lu Mo. He told Lu Mo that he would inherit the prince's will, so he should go out of his way to help him. Lu Mo's eyes filled with tears as he said that he would do his best to help him carry out the prince's last wish. Some time passed and Wu said that he used the artifact to inject a new identity and quality of responsibility deep into Lu Mo's soul. He will be able to help players with some knowledge about the country of Beikai and give out new tasks. After players reach level 20, they will be able to pay Lu Mo 50 coins and create their own guild. Evening came and Wu said that at the moment, preparations for the launch of the game are complete, they can only wait for the players. Meanwhile, in Shanghai, in the city center at the office of the Tinglong Game Studio, one of the employees told their boss to quickly look at the results. Their undead evolution scored 9.2 points. The boss asked what was so surprising. They spent almost 7 years creating this game, a lot of effort and resources. His name is Lai Tianxia, and he is the owner of Tinglong Studio. He said that he feels the score is a bit low, so how much did Malin's game rise of the Proto score? His subordinate replied that this game scored 9.1 points. Tianxia smiled and said that they lost to them. It's not bad, it seems they are in the first place. Suddenly, his subordinate asked in surprise, War on the Net scored 10 points. They are in second place. In the first place is another game that received a score of 10 points. Tianxia was surprised and asked if Malin's studio wasn't the first one. What kind of game is this? His subordinate replied that the War on the Network is 100% realistic, and the size of the installation package is only 800 megabytes. Tianxia fell into shock and thought, how so? The realism is 100%, the package size is 800 megabytes, is this possible? A scam? It's definitely a scam. At this time, Goei was looking at the virtual reality helmet and thought that a few more minutes and the War on the Net would be launched on the platform. How many surprises will their game bring? He can't wait for it. Suddenly, he got a call from Tianxia and exclaimed, he took part in his game evaluation event and he's running a scam. This is too disrespectful to him. It took their team 7 years to create the undead evolution. He knows that, doesn't he? Goei asked, does he mean that after getting the second place, he feels offended and doesn't agree with it? Tianxia replied that of course he didn't agree. He was afraid that the rise of the Protoss would defeat them, but he could still accept that. But the game that took the first place only weighs 800 megabytes, and the description says that the realism is 100%, and they gave this game 10 points. He just wants to know how much this game will benefit him. Isn't he afraid of embarrassing his platform? Goy replied that War on the Net has already been launched on the platform, so let him download it and try to play it. After that, if he still thinks that this game doesn't deserve 10 points, then he will personally remove it. And then their game will be the first? Okay. Well, he's got something more important to do, so he's hanging up. Goy dropped the call and Tianxia thought, does he think that this way he can talk his teeth out of it? He sat down at the computer and said that he would try it out and see how interesting this game is. He clicked the mouse and started looking at the reviews for the game. The game's reviewer gave 10 points and wrote that he should say that if they only read the description, they might miss out on this epoch-making game. Charming and irresistible even for him. Another game reviewer wrote that he would compare this experience with addiction. He could not tear himself away from the game. In the end, he puts 10 points. Another reviewer wrote that before scoring, he had approximately 22 hours of experience in this game, besides the very realistic experience of the game. There were also some hidden features that shocked him, as after increasing the level of his body, he clearly felt a surge of strength. So, he chose the assassin class, and after rising up, he felt that he could develop lightning-fast speed, and this superhuman feeling made him obsessive, so he wants to put 100 points in this game, but unfortunately, he can only get 10. And the last game appraiser wrote that he was a very curious person, so to explore this game, he did not follow the quest instructions, but went straight to the Ghost Mountain. But wandering around, he realized that besides the terrain that deeply impressed him, he met a man in armor. Talking to this NPC, he kept thinking that he was seeing a reasonably alive person right in front of him, not an NPC. This is a scary game in a good way. They need to pay tribute to it. It puts 10 points. By the way, he will give them advice. They should never anger an NPC for the sake of curiosity. He was killed like that. Tianxia read the reviews and said that it seems that this game paid quite a lot for such reviews. An 800 megabyte game can create an absolute sense of reality. It's funny, but now he will find out the true face of this game. He put on a virtual reality helmet and the system greeted him in the game. He found himself at the top of a mountain among 1,000 other players who were pondering which class to choose. One of the players asked Grand Duke Beikai to let him inherit his will and restore his former glory. Another player told someone not to make trouble. They need to go with him faster and look for the boss. This game is really awesome. No wonder there are so many newbies. Tianxia was very surprised and thought that with the current development of technology, the game may not be 100% real, but this game coped with it. Not to mention the gameplay, this realism deserves 10 points, so it's not an exaggeration. Who created this game? Suddenly, someone flew over his head and called his name. The man landed in front of him, turned around, and asked why he was still standing there. They need to go hunt monsters faster. If they don't hurry up, they will disappear. In front of him was a guy with the Berserker class. Tianxia was surprised to see him here and called out to him, and then he asked, didn't he say that he had important matters to attend to? Was that what he meant? Goy told him to hurry up, let him strike the decisive blow. Their monster hunt side mission is complete. Tianxia told him not to worry, he'll figure it out. At the same time, another player pushed him to the side and he asked what it was. The player told the mistress that everything is ready. Successful capture of the monster. Tianxia leaned back and told Guai to be careful, let him rely on him. At the same time, a girl appeared behind him and told him to take better care of himself than his companions. A system message popped up in front of Tianxia saying that player Yizur had killed him. Since he was killed, the process of resurrection and cooldown begins. Tianxia cursed and thought, well, how so? He was murdered. And this cooldown, where else is this function used? What nonsense is this? On the other hand, the game amazes even a developer with a long experience like him. Apparently, it wasn't just him and Brother Wu who were so brazenly disposed of. Thanks to these stories, the game becomes more popular. In questions to the game, someone wrote, development is still ongoing. Let them explain what the 3-hour resurrection time means. User Golden Strongman wrote that he was killed by another player. These robbers are completely insolent. Is there any commander who would be responsible for everything? Another player wrote that they have created a guild. They are recruiting everyone, so let them join. A user with the nickname Knife in the Shower wrote that as he thought, while the guilds are actively recruiting strong players, he is only level 12. Another user told him that he has been in the game for a long time. Another user asked the user Knife in the Shower, is he level 12? He's very cool. Why doesn't he get some beginner training? Tianxia read this and thought that the game they had been developing for 7 years didn't even compare to this. This is the perfect product. At this time, at Wu's house, Lee said that according to statistics, some people even after death in the game still expect to be resurrected. In other words, their game is gaining quite good momentum. Wu said that this is not enough, it is still far from ideal. They need to attract more players. He said that she said that General Cha has more than 50,000 soldiers, and soon he might invade their land. Until then, they need to attract as many new users as possible and form their own army. Goi called him and said that he should help him. Wu asked what was the matter. He replied that when he wanted to get rid of the wandering soul, he was killed by some player. How does he think he can stand it? Wu asked him what he wanted. The Goyim replied that he wanted soul coins. He would give him a few coins so that he could buy a few things and take his revenge. Is it really that hard? Wu looked at his coins and said that just in case, he would let them know in the future he will be able to get coins for killing monsters. Their development team has no other choice. But before officially launching the game, he left 100 coins for himself. He can give them to him, but he can't do it anymore. Goi asked, so what? Well, the game started, but shouldn't he be in control of everything that happens in the game? Wu replied that it was a little off. Developers can no longer meddle in the affairs of the game. He apologized to him and Goi said that whenever he got the chance, let him introduce him to his team. He wanted to show him the monsters he created. Wu thought, monsters. He laughed and thought that there was definitely one. A few hours later, on the Ghost Mountain Range, Tianxia told Goi that after they entered the Ghost Mountain Range, there were an order of magnitude fewer players. Goi told him not to worry. They've robbed them, it's all fair, so they need to wait for the right time. He took out a sword from behind his back and thought that he had bought this giant blade with 100 soul coins that Wu had given him and he couldn't let it go down the drain. They were watching those players who had robbed them. The man blocked the blow and told the lady that this destruction warrior's health was about to run out. He would hold it back and let her collect it. Duo Yi called out to Lai Tianxi and said that they needed to act now. Lai Tianxi laughed and said that it was time for revenge. At the same time, they pounced on them from behind and attacked the man. He noticed them and said things were bad. It was those two. Goi took down his entire health bar and Tianxia missed. Yizuru lightly jumped to the side and Goi asked Wu Tianxia, what's the matter with him? Tianxia tried to pull the sword out of the ground and said it was crooked-armed. Zur asked, did they decide to attack her? She was calmly dealing with the warrior. Where did they come from in the first place? Tianxia took out his sword and told Brother Wu not to worry. The advantage is on their side. Suddenly, a monster appeared behind them and said that they had such conversations. Their wonderful souls belonged to him. Immediately, all three players were killed. At the same time, in Jailan City, in the Yizuru family's estate, she cursed loudly and said that they were such assholes. Because of them, she was attacked by a monster. She can't even find the words. She must take revenge on him. She called her butler, Uncle Mu, and told him to call her brother. Let him say that she was bullied. Let him come with more people. The butler obeyed her order, and at that time, in the headquarters of the game platform 173, a subordinate came into Goi's office and asked, was he looking for him? Goi asked, do all employees work? His subordinate replied that of course they were working, since it was long past business hours. Goi said that he should immediately notify all employees that they need to meet in the conference room. At the same time, at the headquarters of the Tinglong Game Studio, one of the employees was eating a loaf of bread, but suddenly Tianxia put his hand on his shoulder and he got scared, saying that he just overslept for a while. He didn't even think about eating at the workplace. A tired Tianxia said that it didn't matter. Let everyone put on their helmets, they are preparing for war. At this time, in the Yi family's manor, the butler called out to the master and said that he had come. The lady was waiting for him. Yi Cheng entered the room with his gang and asked, who dared to bully his sister? He's going to fire that person. He called out to his sister and said that he had brought everyone, so let her say who had offended her. He would immediately finish them off. She gave him a big smile and said that of course she would do it. She turned to Uncle Mu and told him to bring things down so that there would be enough for everyone. Cheng said they were armed. Zura replied that the problem was that knives were useless in this situation. In the game, she was attacked by two guys, and then she was completely killed by a monster. Cheng asked, in the game. She confirmed his words and said that it annoyed her terribly. Cheng asked in surprise, does that annoy her? Zura testily confirmed his words and asked if he could help her. Cheng also turned to his subordinates and asked, why are they up? Let them prepare for the game, choose their specialty, and then go after Zur. If they didn't help his sister solve the problem, then they were dead. The Guardian Angel Guild led by Yizuru has now been established. The Avengers Guild led by Goi and Lai Tianxi is here. And now the war begins. At this time, Wu was sleeping and Lai told him to wake up. He asked what was the matter. He just closed his eyes. She told him to see for himself. The system reported that player Yizuru had earned 500 soul coins and also created the Guardian Angel Guild. Tianxia wrote that the Guardian Angels Guild kills everyone indiscriminately, so they invite the rest of the players to join their Avengers Guild. A player named Peppa Pig wrote that he will collect soul coins and start killing everyone from the Guardian Angels Guild, even if the rate is 1 in 600. Zura laughed and asked, how's 1 for 700? Wu saw the message and wondered who it was. It increased the value of soul coins from 1 per 100 to 1 per 700. A player named Great Blade in Hand asked why there was no donating function. He needs coins. Another player named Invincible Solitude asked where they could get these coins. Are they waiting for a miracle or something? They need to find coins as much as possible. Another player wrote that the Dragon Guild has more than 1,100 members, and the head will reach level 20 very soon. They need strong players. Lai said that even though guilds weren't officially established yet, while he was sleeping, two factions had already appeared. A conflict has broken out between them, so until they kill each other, the conflict will not stop. Soul coins, which allow players to increase their strength, have become an indispensable material, so guilds are trying their best to get as many coins as possible. But because of this, they will become rich. Now they can buy a lot of food. Wu agreed and said that the rate is 1 in 700. They will become millionaires. Lai cried and said that the soul coins are very important to them. They can't sell everything. She was already confused as to what they should do. Wu replied that he could understand her feelings. To restore the Beikai Palace, they need a lot of soul coins, but they are not enough. They will be able to live their lives to the fullest if they are constantly afraid of unfulfilled goals. So they will sell 500 soul coins first. It won't do them much harm, and they'll also earn money. Lai agreed and told him to act. Wu said that he would use the battle artifact to pretend to be an ordinary player. I asked him what specialty he would choose. He appeared in the underworld and chose a mage. Li asked why he chose a mage. The mage wasn't particularly strong to begin with. Other than the Kai energy bomb, there aren't many strong skills. Wu told her not to worry, he would sell coins, not participate in battles. It would be silly if he was killed in his own game. But a mage has a huge potential. There are many techniques stored in the underground world. Once they build a palace, they will be able to reach them. Moreover, they will also be able to develop professional skills. By adding another skill acquisition column to the shop, the player's strength will be able to grow by leaps and bounds. The current weak mage will definitely unleash his potential once again. He summoned a huge crow and said that he had obtained Izuru's coordinates. She would be his exchange target. He saddled a raven and said he was coming to her. Lai saw that he was using yin energy to transmit the coordinates to Phoenix and said that she was already used to seeing Wu use a battle artifact. A few minutes later, somewhere far away in the mountains, one of the players asked what he was doing there. It's not going to be good for him if he doesn't leave them alone. Wu came out to them and someone asked if he was from the Avengers Guild. Wu said that he was looking for Yuzuru. He would like to exchange coins with her. He wondered if the relationship between the guilds could get so bad in such a short time. He hadn't expected this. Zur asked, was he looking for her? Who is he? She doesn't know him. Wu said he heard she was exchanging coins. How about a 1 in 700 market price deal? Zur jumped down from the tree and said that she would take everything he had. She glanced at him and thought, he's just one, even with the weakest mage class. Wu said he had 500 coins. Zur said that of course he has 500. Let him not waste her time and sell his coins to someone else. But suddenly she realized what he had said and asked how many coins there were. He repeated that he had 500 coins. She asked if he wasn't lying. How does a mage get 500 soul coins? This is too suspicious. Wu said that he would put 500 coins in the exchange column. If she wanted to, then let her see for herself. The system reported that player 65 had submitted an exchange request. Zur saw 500 coins in the system window and thought, does he really have that much? She said she wants to buy everything. She thought that with these coins she would buy the red coat that she had wanted for so long. Wu said to make sure she went to the shopping site. Zur asked, what's the point of all this trouble? Just let him tell her the account number and she'll do it. She called out to Benji and told her to transfer the money to him. She obeyed and Wu said that he had sent his account to the message panel. He thought that we are talking about 350,000. They will just transfer money to him. And they are not afraid that he will deceive them. Don't they care about that much money? Benji logged out and Zuru asked, where did he get so many coins from? He replied that it was all because of the quest soul collector. He was very lucky. He was able to get all 5 souls and quickly exchange them. Zur said that she understood. She noticed long ago that starting souls can be exchanged for coins, but no one from her guardian angel guild has ever received such a soul. He's lucky, isn't he? Benji reappeared in the game and said that she was done. Zur told Wu that the money had arrived, so he could check it out. Wu could hear Lai telling him that she wasn't cheating. The money has arrived, now they can buy countless goodies. Wu said it wasn't worth it. They trusted him, and he trusted them. He transferred her 500 coins and thanked her for her cooperation. He hopes that someday they will have the opportunity to make a deal again. Zur didn't say anything and thought that he was so charismatic and very cool. She hadn't underestimated him. So, besides her brother, there are other interesting guys. Benji said that he didn't even confirm the money transfer, so he probably doesn't need it much. Zur said that money has nothing to do with his temperament. He can't be measured by money. Suddenly, someone called out to her and said that things were bad. Teammates in ambush. Zur turned around and asked, is it the Avengers Guild again? The guy replied that they were elite mobs. Zur asked again, mobs. A second later, an army of demons on wolves came out of the forest and the commander of the warriors asked who was in charge here. who dared to invade his domain. After a while, Wu and Lai bought a lot of delicious food and Lai said it was so beautiful. Wu said that fortunately, when they have a lot of money, they can eat without denying themselves anything. The problem is temporarily solved, but this once again proves the importance of soul coins. There aren't enough of them right now, so they need to find a way to get more to restore and unlock the skill feature. There's another thing that really bothers him. As he was leaving, he noticed that Zuru's team was being attacked by ghost soldiers. These horsemen are being led by General Cha Na. Had he increased his strength enough to move from the Lialai area much closer to them? He thinks it's time to take action. Li said it was easy to pull off. After all, the number of players has also increased. They can set players the task of exploring General Cha Na's territory. This will not only make players understand how things really are with General Cha Na, but also encourage them to spend soul coins, so they will kill two birds with one stone. Wu agreed and said it was a good idea. They will set the level of access to the task to be at least rank 15. If a player's level is lower, they will be killed in the next second, so players will not be so sure. The system announced a new research task. Players need to go to the east and explore the territory of General Cha Na. The reward depends on the scale of their research. Wu said that now all high-ranking players have to do is accept this task, and then they will be able to resist the ghosts. Since players are constantly being revived, they are perfect for exploring lands. Once they got a complete picture of what was going on, then they would be able to formulate an offensive strategy. A system window appears in front of him, which says congratulations to Chen Ju Spirit Blade on the creation of the first Great Dragon Guild and the recruitment of participants for joint promotion. Wu asks isn't he one of the first batch of pro gamers. It turns out that they are so strong, because to create their own guild, the player's level must be at least 20th. It's time for them to understand what's going on. He grabs Lai by the clothes and carries her out of the restaurant while she says that she hasn't finished eating yet. Wu tells the waiter that he should take their food with him, as they are already leaving. At the same time in the game, people ask their brother if he will accept another one. Players are asked to accept them, although they do not have strong skills, but they can do it. A large crowd of people are asking to accept the entry request. Demon says they should listen better. They only accept Dragon Guild players who are strong and have a level above 10th. The strongest Sydney says that participants above level 15 should be prepared because they are going to complete a research task. Urinating against the wind says that in addition, those who want to join the guild must line up and maintain order. They do not accept disorganized and undisciplined people. Spirit Blade asks Brother Lu how much he knows about Ghost General Cha Na's invasion. NPC Lumu says that it was in vain that his foster father raised Cha Na, but he chose to betray him for his own interests. He can't wait to kill him with his own hands. This ghost general is 500,000 ghost soldiers with great strength, occupying the glass zone near the Yellow Spring Sea in the east. If they are going to scout, then they must take care of their own safety and must not show their strength. Spirit Blade is surprised and thinks that he is always evil, but he also cares about people. Compared to playable characters in other games, how does Lumu, who wanders in the underworld as a flesh and blood person, feel? This game is more realistic than ever. He tells Dragon Guild that all members above level 15 are ready to go. They must complete a reconnaissance mission together. Demon says they should go and kill some ghost soldiers. Greatest Sydney says that she is very happy because after completing the mission, she will have 3 blue outfits. Wu looks at this and says that the Dragon Guild members have set out, as expected of professional players. Their efficiency is really high. Lai says he should look at the fact that Lumu is surrounded. The girls who have surrounded Lumu say that he is very handsome. Could he take them along and tell them about the history of the Beikai king? They are both descendants of Beikai, and they need to get to know each other better. What does he usually like to do? He should go and talk to them soon. Li says the power of the fans is terrifying, and Wu must find a way to save Lumu. Or could they create a new NPC to share the fan pressure? Wu says that Lumu is known as an NPC, but it's time to create a new NPC. He starts creating NPCs and says that they need to make a new character as a mysterious businessman wandering around the country. Now he will place it in a random location and players who find this character will be able to buy any rare items that are not available on the market, which will also enrich the player's gaming experience. He finished creating the NPCs and says that now they can go and see how the research mission with the Dragon Guild is going. Li says she's a little worried. Now that there was a conflict between players, how could they fight these ghost generals in the future? Wu pats her on the head and says she doesn't have to worry about it, she'll figure it out later. Sometime later, at the intersection of regions in the Ghost Wolf camp, the greatest Sydney activates the concealment skill and tells the captain that they passed by the camp, but there were about 2,000 ghost soldiers there. Spirit Blade says that there are too many ghost soldiers here, they won't be able to deal with them, so they should change their direction and move forward. Demon sensed something and noticing the Ghost Rider tells this freak that she scared him. Spirit Blade is not good, because they have noticed them and they have to run away now. The greatest Sydney tells the captain that the ghost soldiers ride their wolves and they won't be able to escape them. They must fight or die. Spirit Blade says that's right, they have to fight them until they kill them. They start fighting ghost soldiers and say that kill 1 to earn some money, kill 2 to earn a lot of money. They must fight with all their might. Half an hour later, Demon says that all the players they interact with are above level 15, and they are still capable of fighting against ghost soldiers. However, judging by their numbers, they had suffered heavy losses. It looks like they will fail this time. Urinating against the wind says that its mana has already run out. Spirit Blade says that they should not say anything superfluous, they need to fight to the last moment and in 3 hours they will become heroes. Lee says that night is approaching, and in the dark, the knights on ghost wolves will gain an advantage in vision, because they will be able to see in the dark, and the dragon guild will be eliminated. It might be too early for players to complete the mission, but destroying the group will surely dampen the players' enthusiasm. What should she do? Wu asks, is she worried about the night ahead? These players always have torches, so don't underestimate them. Zuru appears and says that they should hurry up and kill the remaining traitors in Beiki. They must avenge the brothers who were killed earlier. Someone tells the captain that it looks like support has arrived. This is the Angel Guards Guild. Lai notices Wu Zuru's equipment and asks Wu. He has already reached this point, so he sold her spirit coins so that she can come with new equipment for support, right? Wu says not just them. Goi says the Avengers army is here to help. They should follow him. Lee asks, aren't Angel Guards and the Avengers alliances of rival fighters? They can really put aside their prejudices and share a common hatred. She thinks Wu knew how to take great preliminary precautions. He was very similar to Lord Beikai at that time. Goi says that first they must deal with the enemies, and therefore they will solve the problems among themselves. Zura agrees with him. They both start fighting the ghost soldiers and say that even though death is honorable, they must destroy the traitors of Northern Beikai. Wu watches this and says that the reinforcements are already here, now the players can easily kill the enemies, but the number of players is still much smaller. The only way to win this battle is to defeat the general. Lee says it looks like someone has the same ideas as him. Zura heads towards Commander Ghost and thinks that she noticed it as soon as she entered the battlefield. Capture the gang leader first, and then victory will be in their hands. Commander Ghost says that she is overestimating her abilities. He strikes very hard and says they must die. Zura wonders how he can swing such a huge weapon so fast. She doesn't have time to dodge. How is this possible? Her new equipment wouldn't be able to withstand even one such blow. The system notifies that she has been killed by Commander Ghost, and she will have a 3-hour cooldown period after being resurrected. Chang notices this and asks, how dare this monster touch his sister? Everyone must attack, they will avenge Zuru. Spirit Blade says that they must capture the leader, there is nothing to worry about, if they have a disagreement, they will take Commander Ghost with them. The commander makes a strong magic strike that defeats most players. Spirit Blade was able to block this attack, but his sword broke and he realizes that this is too strong an attack. Goi says they should pile him up. They don't need to worry about the other wolf cavalry, they just need to kill this commander. Commander Ghost is angry and says that these tiny insects are trying to shake the tree. No matter how many ants come, it's useless. This monster releases a huge amount of energy that destroys everything around it. Wu says that the player camp was destroyed and it was clearly a one-sided massacre. It seemed that he had underestimated the power controlled by the ghost commander. Even though it was only an ordinary commander, the largest group of players didn't stand a chance against him. If that's the case, can the strongest ghost general single-handedly wipe out all the players? It seems that the players still need to continue developing, and they will temporarily leave the Leeli area in the east of the underworld alone. He asks, can players now record battle videos online? If not, can they develop this feature? The screen recording feature will be more useful for promoting the game. If players can upload recorded videos to the main video platforms, this will undoubtedly increase the visibility of the game and attract more new players to them. Lee says that of course it's possible, it's a small matter for her. 3 days later, in the comments section of the website Battle Online on the gaming platform 173, Yedao Ruhan writes that this ghostly commander must be defeated. Hundreds of people can't handle it. He can't take it anymore, the Oragon clan is still recruiting people, they will take revenge in a few days. Azura writes that Guardian Angel recruits people who swear to kill Beiki traitors. For high-level players, their guild offers support and help with equipment. Minju Jishiyu writes that this battle is very exciting. He can feel his fighting spirit heating up. Who has soul coins? He will pay a high price for a few coins. He is ready to start giving money. Moody Jimo writes that soul coins are bought in the ratio of 1 to 800. They shouldn't hide it, because it's the highest price ever, and he buys an unlimited amount. Actors in Jisuk writes that it's amazing. At least he was able to touch the ghost commander's subordinates, it's a great feeling. Wu looks at the screen and says that a few days ago, during a research mission, they had a direct confrontation with the 3 main player alliances. However, it was precisely because of this battle that most players put aside their hatred and began to develop peacefully. He heard that this was because the leaders of the 3 major player alliances that are currently the strongest had a conversation. They decided to temporarily stop their disputes and team up to destroy the Ghost Commander's camp located on the outskirts of Leeli District. Lee says that's not all. If he looks carefully at the comments on the forum, he can see that the price of buying soul coins has increased again and they are now making even more money. Wu says this is true, and the screen recording feature also played a role. The number of players increased to 150,000. Lee says that she also noticed something. The appearance of Battle Online attracted a large number of gold breeding studios, but they found out that the game can't be opened by multiple users, and even accounts can't be shared with others. So they started buying hacking software at high prices, hoping to unlock the game multiple times. Wu says that this will probably disappoint them, because Battle Online has a soul binding, so it's impossible to use cheats with multiple openings unless players have 2 souls. They should take a look at this. Recently he noticed 3 tech players on a forum. Lee says ID is now in LAN. Did this player hand draw a topographic map of the Ghost Mountain range, indicating the distribution of monsters in each area and their weaknesses? Wu says that there is also a player named the Dwarf King who directly used the screen recording feature to demonstrate a map of the area he is exploring in Battle Online on the game's forum. According to this player, he didn't actually fight monsters when he entered the game, but rather started exploring the world with a traveler's mindset. On the Dwarven King's map, the fog in the areas surrounding the underworld has disappeared, revealing 4 wilderness areas that are familiar to players. These areas are Ghostly Mountain Range, Langia Scorched Earth Area, Desolate Cliff, and Forest of Death. In any case, what caught his attention the most was the one punch one kick player. He said that once a firefighter, he lost an arm and a leg during an emergency response operation due to the effects of a natural disaster. Although everyone called him a hero, only he knew the true pain he felt. Gradually, he became depressed and disillusioned with life. After he started playing games, he found solace in the virtual world, where at least he is a healthy person. But he still felt like it wasn't real, without any real sensation, like a prosthetic limb, until he discovered their game, the Battle Online, and was surprised to find that his arms and legs had returned to him. The completely realistic sensation brought tears to his eyes, and for the first time, he felt that his lost limbs were truly in place again. Lee wipes away her tears and says it's healthy. She never thought that their game can also bring new life and hope to others. She is sure that Lord Bakey would be proud of them. But they still have to work harder. The game experience is very good right now, but it's still not rich enough. Wu says that after reading the player reviews, he already has some ideas. Battle Online doesn't have to be a battle game. It can also be a standalone game with elements of sharpness and wit. For example, in the future, if they can conquer the Leolai district where Chan Na resides, there would be fishing enthusiasts could go fishing near the Leolai district. Another example, under the cliff is the domain of the Ghost King of the Rocks. There are a lot of dark areas, which are good for nurturing new spiritual beings. If they can conquer this area, then they will also be able to activate the pet rearing feature for players and even grow battle pets that will help in battle. This underground world is full of endless possibilities. As long as players can imagine it, it can be turned into game content. He believes that as the world map gradually unfolds, more and more players will come into their game and fall head over heels in love with the world. After a while, at the border between Leolai District and the underworld, Soldier Ghost tells Lord Gaidu that behind this is Lord Bakey's former underworld area. Those who call themselves players haven't directly engaged them in combat since the recent battle a few days ago. Instead, they constantly provoke them with a small team near their campsite. He thought that after a few bloody sweeps, these weaklings would get scared, but their confidence only increased. They really are damn troublemakers. But now Lord Gaidu is personally leading the team here, and these scum are doomed. Gaidu looks into the distance at the large sinkhole and wonders when such a powerful yin energy appeared in the underworld again. This feeling is very familiar to him. This is a king who once ruled the Bakey country tens of thousands of years ago. Some of the players say that these ghost soldiers really came out of their camp and came on their own. Can an NPC's hatred be attracted from such a long distance like this? Why bother with all this? This is great, because it saves them a lot of trouble. They no longer need to go to their camp to provoke them. The ghost soldiers who are standing here should listen carefully. They are the descendants of King Bakey. They traitors, better prepare well for death, especially their leader. Soldier Ghost tells Lord that they've started it all over again. What is this nonsense about the descendants of King Bakey? Back then, he had seen the king fall with his own eyes. He gives the order to kill them all. Players and ghost soldiers run at each other, starting the battle. After a while, Lee says something's wrong. She watched the dynamics in the game. Just a moment ago, the ghost general had led an army of ghost wolf riders out of the outpost and crossed the border to launch an attack. Players are killed by an army of ghost wolf riders. Wu says he knows there's nothing to worry about here. Everything is going according to his plan. Lee asks, is this his plan? The wolf attacks the player and destroys his sword. The ghost soldier tells the Lord that they have eliminated all the troubles they encountered along the way. These weak creatures are nothing. No matter how many of them there are, they are completely helpless. After they cross the mountain front, they will experience the full charm of the underworld. Gaidu says they should keep moving forward. They must prepare to look in the direction of the Bakey underworld. The soldiers are riding wolves in the wake of their lord. Gaidu asks, how is this possible? He rode to the ruins in the underworld. What are these things? Why are there so many of them? At least 100,000 of them can be seen at a glance. They must retreat. Soldier Ghost tells the Lord that they can't go back, because these freaks have already set up an ambush and their escape route is cut off. Zura says that they really did it. These traitors couldn't stand it and took the initiative. Goy asks, haven't they heard the saying the old fox knows all the tricks? It was just that he didn't expect things to go so smoothly when the chief general personally led the team. Operation Absolute Destruction begins. Players say that everyone must attack them. They must not let them escape. They must not spare any of these ghosts. They had waited for so many days, and finally, they had waited for this moment when they could take revenge. A reward of 10,000 is offered for the brothers who killed the ghost general and his trash. Ghosts must tremble in the midst of the evil forces of the players because they are stupid traitors. Lee watches this and asks, is this the plan he mentioned? Wu says that after the failure of the battle a few days ago, the three major alliances and countless small teams of players reached a consensus on the forum to prepare for the thorough destruction of Ghost General. Wu Guoi even asked someone to post a plan for Operation Absolute Annihilation on the game forum, so he just pinned his post. Fighting 1 out of 10 isn't scary. The scary thing is that ghost soldiers will fight dozens or even hundreds of enemies. Although his army of 150,000 men can't defeat the current ghost general, it's more than enough to wipe out their ghost wolf cavalry. Some of the players tell these traitors that they don't even have to think about escaping, because they will fight their lions and their corpses will bury them. There are too many of them and they are all followers of the ghost general. Soldier Ghost says there are too many of them and they are all reckless followers. General Ghost must save them. The player says that their general probably doesn't have time to bother with them right now. It's like crossing a river while feeling rocks, and he can't even defend himself. Gaidu wonders what's going on with these guys. They don't have any formation, command, or skills in their fighting style. They just rely on brute force. For ghostly creatures like them, even though they are bloodthirsty and ferocious, they still have fear again, but these guys are the complete opposite of them. They are all reckless and fearless. Even if he had the advantage in strength, he wouldn't be able to break through their ruthless encirclement. If this continued, would he really die here? The system notifies that General Ghost has 40% of his health points remaining. Gaidu asks, how could this happen in the hands of a bunch of weaklings who rely on their numbers? They must die for him, they must all just die. Zura says that they are meeting again, but this time, she would definitely avenge her previous defeat. Doi says that she should be careful, because last time he used this technique to kill many brothers in an instant. Gaidu sees them and asks, is it them again? This can't be happening. He had killed them with his own hands a few days ago. Players say that he is a stupid ghost general. He should tremble under the gaze of the player's higher power. They're laughing at the top of their lungs. Under the player's resurrection hacks, the ghost general seems to be feeling hopeless. Gaidu says they should get out of his way. Players say that they are not afraid to die. They'll still be heroes in 3 hours. He's so amazing, why doesn't he resurrect and show them? This little freak still dares to resist and explode. Struggling in the throes of death, he must hurry and explode. Gaidu uses magic and summons a huge explosion that destroys everything around him. The system notifies that the boss of the Ghost Wolf Cavalry outpost has been defeated and the Ghost General has been killed. Ghost spawns the Dawn Blade, an attribute that increases its own power by 18 points. The weapon skill Wind Blade can be used once per hour and deals double damage as a ranged attack skill. Requirements: Profession of the Warrior class and level 30 or higher. Ghost General Armor, the attribute increases defense by 15 points, the effect of breaking through is halved. The equipment skill Protective Barrier cannot be reused when destroyed. Requirements: Any profession, from the 25th level. Dark Rune number 1, the first component of the Dark Artifact rune set, can be sold in the shop for 500 soul coins. Wu says that there was an explosion of equipment and the Ghost General was finally killed. The War God artifact immediately analyzed the properties and value of these 3 types of equipment. I wonder which player was lucky enough to make the first kill. What happened? Are these pieces of equipment special? Lee asks, didn't he want to create some hidden professions before? Now he has a chance. This magic symbol was created by Beiki's first blacksmith, Yin Jumo, to craft items for special warriors. Once they obtained this magic symbol, she was confident that she could help him develop an advanced rune warrior program. Wu says it sounds really cool. This is very good. It will greatly increase the player's power level. This hard-fought battle was worth it. Is some talisman really that powerful? She should tell him more about the Rune Warrior. Lai says that Rune Warrior is the system name for a special warrior created by the first Beiki spell, the 9th Demon Energy. To make it, the blacksmith must melt a variety of materials. Although the process is complex, the result in the form of a warrior's strength is amazing. With the help of a combat artifact, they can save on a lot of processes. Once she thoroughly examines the hand and adds the template to the artifact, she can create a hidden warrior class. Moreover, in addition to updating the growth system of this class, there is also a growth mode for collecting runes. Raising a rune can significantly strengthen a rune warrior. Only, she doesn't know if the player who received the talisman will appear or when they will sell it. Wu holds out his hand, and something glows in it. Lee asks, did the player really put the mascot up for sale so quickly? He says that it's still useless for players, but you can get as many as 500 soul coins for it. Lai says it's great, then she can start creating a rune warrior. 2 days later, in the system window, it says that the first berserker activity is to reveal a rune warrior. Damon asks, can the berserker class change to runic warrior? She sits down on a chair and asks him why he is happy if he has a killer class. Since all the berserkers have changed classes, what will happen to the assassins? It loads into the world and appears in the game's world. The system notifies that the runic warrior, in order to gain the highest power, the berserker abandons his weapon and uses himself as a receptacle, carving the runes of heaven and earth, forming the strongest body. Professional characteristics. Whenever a new rune appears, you can significantly increase your strength, gain new characteristic skills and runes. Weapons, gloves. Requirements: the character must be a berserker and the level must be at least 30. At the same time, a player with the rune warrior class uses magic with their gauntlets and is surprised by their explosive power. He uses the rune protection ability and is surrounded by a magical barrier. A magic class player fires magic projectiles from the sky and says that death is near. A rune warrior class player asks, attacks of this level are affected by protection like raindrops hitting a windshield, right? It's just amazing. It uses the rune speed ability and runs very fast towards the enemy. The system notifies that the first arrival of the berserker, the task demonstration of the rune warrior. Rune warriors, they have many development modes, and thanks to runes, you can constantly improve your skills. Damon is surprised by this and says that it looks like he chose the wrong class from the very beginning. Isn't it too late to change classes? This rune warrior is very cool and invincible. This completely changed his idea of warriors on the battlefield. The system notifies that a new berserker class has been added in the update, a new NPC has been added to the rune warrior class, and a master class change instructor has been added. The rune warrior transfer should be completed soon. Introduction to the task. You can learn more from the instructor. Meanwhile, Wu pats Lee on the head and tells her that she is doing great because she has learned something new by relying on the rune. She says that she is currently studying the transfer of magicians and soon she will release 3 directions at once. Wu asks which 3 directions is she talking about. Lee says the ancestral curse system is good for controlling and destroying states. The demon system is good for losing games. Soul monster system, good in every formation. Everyone has their own abilities, which can be very useful. Wu asks, what about the assassins and changing their class? Lee says she's still dealing with assassins, and new professions require additional materials to be created for players. This is equivalent to creating a new driver. You need to carefully work out each character and its features, capabilities. You cannot act unwisely. Wu says that she always works very hard. Is there anything he can do to help her? Lee says he should buy her delicious food every day. After all, this kind of research takes a lot of energy from the brain, and for the brain to work well, it requires delicious and varied food. Wu pats her on the head, laughs, and tells her that it looks like she just likes to eat. Lee asks, so he doesn't believe her, but she's telling the truth. He says he will definitely buy her food. After some time in the Lielai area, the coast of the Huanquan Sea, someone asks what they answered. The warrior tells Master that the Sea King has said that as long as they sacrifice 100,000 yin spirits annually, the Huanquan Sea will recognize Master's status as the Lord of Lielai. General Cha Na asks, if Lord Beiki was there, then why didn't he dare to show his face? Was he treating him like some kind of bandit? The warrior asks what he means by that. Cha Na says that he will have to endure them for a while, agree to this demand. When he breaks through to the realm of the Ghost Lord, he will definitely pay him back. The soul-crossing messenger agrees and tells the Lord that he has to report something else. The commander of the 3rd Ghost Cavalry was defeated. Cha Na is surprised and asks, wasn't it at the junction of Hades and Lielai districts? How could he have died in such a safe area? The messenger says that unfortunately, not only he died, but also his entire squad, because no one reported anything to him. The subordinate doesn't doubt his strength, but the Rock Ghost King is implicated. Cha Na is very angry and says that it can't be because he was suppressed right after the occupation of the Northern Territory. It must be someone else. They need to check, because they need to understand who is leading the secret struggle. At the same time, Wu sneezes and Lee asks if he has a cold. He says it's nothing like that, it just came out by accident. Thanks to her discovery of screen recording capabilities, videos of the decisive battle between players and the Ghost Commander were posted on popular video portals and the number of players in War Online increased dramatically. They now have over 50,000 soul coins. Next, it's finally time to officially restore Hades. The system notifies that 50,000 soul coins have been spent. Lee says she's starting to get used to his control over the use of the artifact. The palace has changed and she says that they have succeeded. The reconstruction of the mansion was successful. After the reconstruction, there is a repository of Buddhist canons they can go to see. After some time, they come to the repository of Buddhist canons. Wu is surprised that there are so many canons here. Lee says that of course it is. The vault contains all the cultivation techniques and combat skills that Lord Bakey has collected throughout his life. By the way, it will soon be available for players. Most likely you need to think about the name. Wu asks, since this place is meant for cultivation, then why not call it a cultivation pavilion? The ring on his hand begins to radiate magical energy. A cultivation pavilion is being created. Lee says that all these techniques and combat skills will be very useful in the future. The battle artifact is based on his idea, and all the traditions of the original Buddhist canon repository have been preserved and respected, but transformed into a more suitable place for players to cultivate. Wu asks, in other words, she means that the cultivation pavilion is also a peculiar artifact. Lee says this is true. He asks, what about these humanoid phantoms? She says that these are battle artifacts that make everything more convenient to use. Players will only need to click on the picture to see a detailed description of the skill and its demonstration. Wu says it's very convenient, but players will have to leave a lot of soul coins here to learn anything. Lee agrees and says that even with the necessary skills and soul coins, it's impossible to master them if they haven't reached a certain level. Even despite all the advantages and improvements of players, they will be able to master some techniques only at one level or another. Wu says that he understood. Now they can carry out a second renovation of the cultivation pavilion. There are more people with the specialty areas of mages, assassins, and warriors. He says that first you need to divide it into 3 categories, then the 3 main zones need to be divided into 5 more zones: the primary, intermediate, advanced, spiritual, and royal cultivation zone. In addition, because there are too many players, parallel spaces will be created that can accommodate up to 1,000 players. This is more like separate servers. The system notifies players that official training in professional skills is open. Players who have reached level 20 can choose combat skills that match their class in the cultivation pavilion. A ray of magical energy appears in the center of the cultivation pavilion and players walk towards the forms of people from their classes. Lee asks, after the notification, a wave of players came here, but why are most of them magicians? The system window says, Yin Soldier, Mage Class, Introduction. You can control Yin energy to summon a Yin Soldier. The strength of each fighter is equivalent to that of a first level player. No more than 10 Yin Soldiers can appear at a time. Skill requirements to learn this technique. You need to spend 10 soul coins and reach the 20th level. Summon a second level Yin Soldier, available at level 25, and summon a third level Yin Soldier, available at level 30. Note, when you level up, the number of summoned soldiers is doubled. Dark Yin Erosion. A mage class skill of Dark Thoughts releases bamboo shoots with Yin energy that deal continuous damage over a wide range. Skill requirements to learn this technique. You need to spend 10 soul coins and reach the 20th level. Skill boost. Second level Yin Erosion is available at level 25. Third level Yin Erosion is available at level 30. Note, as you level up, the spread area increases and the damage also increases. Haunted by evil thoughts. The mage class, the Dark Thoughts skill, allows you to summon evil spirits, curb them, and create your own protector. Skill requirements to learn this technique. You need to spend 40 soul coins and reach level 30. Skill boost. Demon Possession is available at 40th level. Night Walk of Ghosts is available at 80th level. Note, the skill has uncertainty. The strength of the summon is affected by the environmental factor. The higher the level, the stronger the summoned ghost. Mages say that their mage class was completely ignored before. Even when reaching the 20th level, only the useless Yin Bomb technique was unlocked. However, they will finally be able to learn something new. They are finally remembered and they are very happy. That's great, it's a holiday for the magicians. Lee worries and says that it looks like the mages were angry earlier. Wu goes to the portal and says that they should go and continue improving the war online. She agrees with him. After a while, the system notifies the server that the area in which the player has figured out is 100% available for teleportation. The map showed the Ghost Mountains, the Burnt Langa area, the Forest of Death, the Cliff of Despair, and the Abode of the Dead. Wu cries and says it's too painful. He only built 2 teleportation systems, but he didn't even think that it would cost him 5,000 soul coins. Lee says that, however, this is great news for players, especially those who are engaged in the development of the Berserk class. Thanks to the Rune Warrior, the Berserkers began to leave the Abode of the Dead in search of transformation materials. But every time they are resurrected and go to the Ghost Mountains again, they have to travel all the way from the beginning to the end. Creating a teleportation system will help them a lot. The system notifies that the requirements for the transition to Rune Warrior, the first stage is called Monster Hunting. Requirements for the transition to Rune Warrior, the second stage, collect materials for creating runes. One of them must be intact. Materials for the synthesis of power runes, black ore that is mined in the burnt area of Langhai, a fire core that is mined in the abode of the dead, a fragment of dark armor 10 pieces that drops out after killing dark spirits. Materials for synthesizing defense runes, black ore, corpse water core that is mined in the area with corpse water, void bead 10 pieces that drops out after killing an inferior. Materials for synthesizing runes of speed, destruction, explosion, Ian energy, and more. Requirements to advance to Rune Warrior, 3rd stage, open the advanced career mode. Lee says that it turns out that they will be able to return all the funds spent on teleportation. Wu says she's right, and teleportation won't be free. They will have to pay 1 soul coin each time. With so many players, they will profit from it very soon. Next, they will add the live broadcast feature that gamers have been asking for so long. This will give players who have died and are waiting to be resurrected a chance to look at others. Lee asks if they should charge a fee of 50% for any dropped attribute. Wu laughs and says that she is too greedy for money. She laughs and says that she is just like him. After some time in the capital of Lungo, the Black Sea Technology Company, an underground research hall, the scientist says that finally all the indicator lights are on and it's great. Finally, they have successfully developed this. Virtual game warehouses combined with nutrient solutions successfully allowed players to avoid getting any effects on the body for 24 hours, and they managed to do it. On the board of directors of the Black Sea Technology Company, the CEO of the Black Sea Technology Company, Director Cheng, says that there is good news from the Research and Development Department. Their virtual game warehouse was successfully developed. They need to bring these virtual game warehouses to market. What do they think about the fact that it is very important to take the entire market? Other people say that this is great, maybe they should put up a promotion. First they will enter the market, and then they will look for other agents. Since the bulk of their products are dedicated to serving games, so why don't they find game vendors to collaborate with? It would be great to take advantage of the popularity to enter the market. The receptionist shouted to the director, Bad Business, Director Cheng. Compania has just announced the creation of a virtual warehouse at a press conference. He jumped up from his chair and shouted back at her, "What's going on? What's the matter?" She asked him to take a look at the press conference, and the system window reported, after many years of research, the virtual world will enter a new era from today. Thanks to the long-awaited virtual game storage, their company has successfully developed this. After countless tests, the journalist assures that the game warehouse will work stably. Lai, when she saw this report, said with disappointment, "It's over. Their product, their chance to capture the market is gone." Suddenly something surprised her and she wondered what. Virtual game warehouse, 24-hour experience. Wu was looking at his phone at that moment and someone asked him to look at a new one. The company released its game warehouse. Now you can enjoy the game 24 hours a day. This was told to him by Goi, who said that he saw it by chance. Brother Wu, why is he so excited? Company had just found him. He hopes that he can promote cooperation, and immediately thought of his game. Their representatives will come to platform 173 tomorrow to discuss everything. Including him, he invited 30 other major game developers. He told him, "Okay, thanks, see you tomorrow." After this phone conversation, Lai carefully looked at Wu and said to him, "For physical safety and players had to install a game system that lasts 12 hours. But this served as a restriction on the growth of players. Thanks to the appearance of the game warehouse, you can develop much faster." The next day, Platform Company 173, a girl named Alice, who is a representative of G&O, turned to Director Wu and noted that it was time to start the meeting. Director Wu, they still haven't started a discussion, maybe they're still waiting for someone. Goi looked at his wristwatch and said, "Time is running out, so where is Brother Liu?" At that moment, Wu and Lai burst through the door, shouting in a hurry that they were caught in traffic and apologizing to the rest of the staff for waiting. Goi sat down in his seat and said, "Okay, they're starting. They need to sit down," but why did he take his sister with him? He hadn't prepared a place for her. They were very surprised by his reaction to Lee, and for a few moments they were dumbfounded, after which Wu said that everything was fine and sat her on his lap, telling her that his sister did not like to be alone. After such an awkward pause, Goi said, "Well, since everything is in dispute, Alice, he suggests that everyone start." Alice asked again, "Are they starting yet?" That's good. She thinks that everyone already knows about their company. They have a leading position in the field of virtual games. They have created a virtual game warehouse that will be much better than all previous inventions, and she thinks that everyone understands the purpose of the trip. Now she suggests starting negotiations. An hour later, Lee even fell asleep in Wu's arms, and Alice kept talking loudly about how this was a mutually beneficial project and she thought they would sign it. But what about the terms? It's very simple. Every year they have to pay 20% of their profits. The other employees were very surprised by these figures and were dumbfounded, wondering if she was really talking about 20%. One of the employees holding the phone in his hand said, They are very interested in this project, but paying 20% of the profit is really too much. They should wait, because he needs to call the company's management and wait for orders. Another employee shouted, so did he. Alice replied to them, she thinks everyone knows about the influence of their company. If the game warehouse is at their disposal, it will attract a new wave of players. Developers will create fun for him and earn a lot of money. At this moment, when she was saying these words, she thought 20% is really a lot, but everything is already captured. Even after such an outrageous request, no one will refuse. Wu replied, being a straightforward person, that he was not interested in such a thing at all, so he refused the offer. Alice asked him again, what? Sir, maybe he has some questions or doesn't understand everything. Suddenly, she started shouting, what company is this young man from? G&D made a big discovery, but he didn't discuss anything and immediately declined. He doesn't understand the full value of a virtual warehouse at all. How short-sighted that is. At that moment, Lai woke up, rubbed her eyes, and said, you can't ask for so much money. How painful it is for her to hear it. Goi addressed Wu as a brother and asked him to take his time. This is a commercial negotiation. If he is not satisfied with the other party's conditions, why not discuss it? This is a great opportunity for the entire virtual world. Alice scowled at him politely. Sir, he should think it over carefully. He snapped back, repeating his answer. No, his sister has expressed all his thoughts. He refuses. Let him forgive him, Brother Wu, but he will never change the specifics of the war on the net. The game has been carefully developed for 10 years and the realism of this game has reached 100%. They can try and play everything themselves. It's kind of unfair to their game, so they're getting out of here. At this moment, he thought, the war on the net is not just their game with Bailai. At this moment the game character said, you need to pay attention. First you need to try to fight with him by force, but in case of anything, try to lure him with food. He believes that this time everything will definitely work out. Someone wrote in the comments, this time it makes up for his failure. Here he is, the Emperor of Perseverance, in person, a live broadcast of death. Brother, he is the weakest player. He has been following him for the last few days and can't even count how many times he has died, so he asks him to calm down already. Each player had a task, try to kill a beast, attempt number unknown, audience 38,236 people. Li and Wu watched from the phone, and she wondered what was going on. He wants to tame the corpse wolf. Lu Wu, can such a player achieve success? He said they would find out soon enough. In the comments, they wrote, here it is, the Lord of the Beasts. Brother, this is for him like a coin of the soul. How awful. He'd watched him for so long and thought he was very funny, but how could he have such power? The player in turn approached the huge monster that was tightly tied to the tree and the player shouted with confidence in their abilities, faster. They are close to success. They must keep attacking this, reduce this monster's life level to a minimum. The system reports that this monster is a corpse wolf in a weakened state. The success rate reaches 60%. At this moment, the wolf growled violently and dark magic waves appeared from the monster's body. The player was very surprised by this and shouted, what's going on? Where did this dark energy come from? How did it happen? At this moment, thanks to the dark forces, another terrifying monster appeared, whose appearance scared the player and he shouted, what horror, does this want to die? He almost subdued the corpse wolf, but it was destroyed. At this moment, the monster guy spread his arms and directed his dark forces towards the players, capturing their hands and weapons in his shackles. One of the players shouted, what is this dark fog that doesn't allow you to break free? Who is this guy? The monster with the bright eyes spoke back to them, and now he asks and they answer his questions. He asked the player a question, where did it come from? Why did the ghost commander die? The player shouted with a sense of fear, wow, is that General Chan? The monster pointed its hand in the player's direction and repeated, he asks, and he answers. The player grabbed the dark forces with his hands to get rid of the suffocation and shouted, this is very painful, how much it hurts, he should not tighten this vine. Another player asked him loudly, are they going to die? He shouted back that such an outcome was possible, it was all because of that enemy. He remembers kicking the ghost commander. The other guy shouted at them, he can hear them. The monster was surprised by the outcome of their conversation and asked them a question, did they kill the third ghost? No, how is it possible with their strength? The player started shouting back, it's just a simple mob, why is it shouting so loudly? As if they were afraid of him. Come on, let him let go and fight them one-on-one. Another player shouted that he was warning them that if he killed them, they would take revenge on him. Another player agreed with him and shouted, yes, if he finished them off, they would definitely kill him when they got stronger. Jana laughed loudly at them and asked them again, will they take revenge on him? Do they even know who he is? He's Du Yan, in charge of storing souls. He won't even leave a wet spot on them. At this moment, his magic powers began to penetrate deeper into the players' bodies, but suddenly he stopped, something alerted him, and he wondered if he was really not succeeding. What's wrong with these guys? It was as if some powerful force was protecting their souls. In that case, he will destroy their bodies and then they will see where the souls go. He pointed his index finger skyward and all the players were scattered in different directions by the incredible force and moments later, only bright magic sparks remained. Chana walked closer to the battlefield, looked around, and shouted, "How is this possible? There isn't the slightest influx of soul power here. Furthermore, the souls integrated had disappeared without a trace. This does not comply with any law at all. After the creatures die, the soul begins to create rotations, the power escapes and merges with the rest of the world, but the current situation is completely different." One of the players shouted to the head to look at that guy. Someone asked me again what was the matter. It doesn't see any problem. One of the players turned to the head and asked if he didn't think that he looked like a hidden mob of a mysterious merchant. Another knight spoke up, a mysterious merchant. He saw it on the forum. One day, the lucky one met a mysterious merchant, bought a piece of rune for 5 soul coins, and then sold it for 100 soul coins. Brothers, they will get rich. The entire team of players was happy. One of them asked a question, so does he sell products? The first time is unusual, but the second time is already familiar, so how about a discount? Another interrupted their conversation and said, first they should take a look at the goods, he heard that he has a lot of things. Someone agreed with this and shouted, they should look at the rare items. At that moment, Chan's body trembled and he asked them a question, do they know the details of the Ghost Commander's death? The guys looked around in confusion, and one of them asked if the mysterious merchant should demonstrate his strength before selling the goods. I've never seen such a technique before. Do they need to appease him? He will make a discount. These words alerted Chan, who directed his magic powers in the direction of the players and asked what kind of nonsense they were saying. They should die. After his magic attack, only bright sparks remained from the players, and he wondered with fright, has this happened again? Their body and souls inexplicably disappeared when he killed them. What's happening? Although unlikely, he needs to see for himself. With that, he disappeared into space. At this time, Lai and Wu were in the city and walking along the road together. Lai turned to Wu and said, I think Chana is going on a reconnaissance mission. He replied to her, they would go home first. What about the origin of the Soul Crossing Messenger? She replied, Soul Crossing Messenger is the highest position of the Ghost King in general, responsible for storing and transferring souls. Each Ghost King in general is awarded a Soul Crossing Messenger. They have different strengths and weaknesses, and are also good at sacrificing. He asked her, soul crossing? She replied, yes, in fact, the system is like a money system, most can't collect a soul. And as for the yin soul, there are many areas in Beikai where it can be obtained, and you can also get it from the creatures of the underworld. The soul is different from the original soul, because it is more like a material, and you can use it to create weapons and equipment. In any case, there are a lot of positive aspects. He asked her again, so what she means is that the Ghost King in general didn't have much influence, all the power is in the yin soul. She took a deep breath and replied, that's right, even though Hades is the capital of Beikai, there has been a large-scale war here, so building materials are the most scarce. He replied, the origin and purpose of the Soul Crossing Messenger is clear, but how do they deal with it? She poured a packet of cookies into her mouth and said she didn't know. He could disappear into the shadows at any moment, and it was hard to kill. Suddenly, she realized something and shouted, Lu Wu, he's here. The Soul Crossing Messenger has arrived at the abode of the dead. While in the abode of the dead, Chana looked around and wondered how this was even possible. Hades, which had fallen into disrepair after countless wars, was restored. Had the king returned? No, this just can't be happening. He had witnessed the death of King Beikai with his own eyes. Even after death, I watched the soul leave the body. Suddenly, he opened his mouth in bewilderment, abruptly turned around and asked the question, who? A powerful monster appeared in front of him and asked the question, who did he call it? He said, hesitating in fear, His Highness, the Soul Crossing Messenger, welcome back, Master. The messenger said to him, scum, does he know what happens to traitors? Chang's entire body continued to tremble as he knelt down and said, the subordinate is aware of his mistakes and is willing to die if it helps to make things right. At this moment, he was thinking, after death, he can reincarnate, but if he loses his soul, then there will be nothing to help him. The messenger asked him, threateningly, deaf. How could he let him rest so easily after being betrayed? He pointed his hand in his direction and Chan shouted out in fright. He asks the Lord to forgive him. He is ready to atone for all his sins. Lai, who was watching everything from afar, wondered if this was normal. Lu Wu is so brave, she didn't think he would start pretending to be the Prince of Beikai. The Wu in Beikai's body continued to speak sins. And how does he plan to redeem himself? Chana shouted to him, ready to help the prince regain all the lost territories and glory. Suddenly, he realized something, jumped up abruptly, pointed his finger at the prince, and shouted, he's not the Prince of Beikai. The true Prince of Beikai would never let him go. Who is he? Why did he come? How did you manage to fix Hades? He thinks the third one's death is also related to him. The prince's entire body lit up with a bright light and he replied, that's right, the Ghost Commander was killed by his men, so he will be next. Chana shouted back at him, and he's very brave to pretend to be the Prince of Beiki. At that moment, he directed his forces in his direction and shouted for him to die. The prince said back to him, he can't beat him, Du Yen. He shouted back at him, enough is enough, it's not him, he can't bully him anymore. Wu turned to Du Yan and said, he is not the Prince of Baki, but he has his own blood in his body, he must inherit the land of Baki. At this moment, Du Yan paused in thought and suddenly Wu abruptly screamed loudly in pain. It was Lai who bit his finger until it bled and shouted at him. He had already cheated him once, henceforth, she didn't think that he would fall for it again. She thinks she'll have to somehow confirm the presence of Baki's blood. At this moment, Yan turned around and asked a question with calmness, blood Baki. At this moment, he pointed a magic ball in his direction and shouted, the overwhelming power of the bloodline, does it really appear to his descendants? Wu replied, doesn't he already know the answer? Why does he bother asking questions? It gives him the choice to surrender or die. Yan shouted back at him to wait for him, he wanted to confirm something. Those beings who call themselves players are his people. He said of course. Yan was dumbfounded by this news and thought, even if these players were destroyed, their souls wouldn't go anywhere. The person who created them claims to be a descendant of Baki, which means that he has mastered the law of reincarnation. A supreme power that even Prince Baki didn't possess. What kind of creature was he facing now? Wu shouted at him angrily, he asks one last time, does he give up or choose death? Yan replied, also shouting loudly and getting down on one knee, Du Yan's subject welcomes the new master, he will be loyal to him as he was once loyal to the Prince of Baki. Wu told him that was fine. At this time, Lialai District, Huangquanxi Coast. Someone reported, General Chan, that the ghost had returned from scouting. Have the causes of death of the third ghost been identified? The subject said, Lord Chan, he asks to see this, he found a remnant of a tree demon in the camp. Chana asked him in surprise, tree demon, people of the King of Rocks. He lacks the northern territories, so he decided to encroach on Lialai District. The man asked him again, Mr. Chan, what should he do? He shouted with a sinister look, he should go to Huangquan and remind the Sea King that he had previously offered to sacrifice 100,000 yin spirits to him every year. He agreed. You just need to wait until he breaks through the Ghost King realm and then take over the northern territory, yes. At this time, Lu Wu's house, 3 o'clock. Lai turned to Wu and asked him if it was late, what was he doing? He answered while sitting on his chair, recently players have asked to open a new war platform on the net, but they can't do it, so he thought why not add some game prizes to calm them down. She replied, yes, thank you. By the way, she was interested in something. The soul messenger was even willing to die, so why didn't he let him do it? Wu asked her to watch, and then she would understand. This is the intersection of Lialai District and Huangquanxi. The players snuck into Chang's territory to start the live broadcast. You can't miss the battle at sea. One monster grabbed a huge trident in his hands and shouted, Chana, he has to come out. One of the players saw this and shouted, what a horror, what kind of monster is this? I've already lost 10 life points, so I've also fallen into a state of rage. It's not easy for him to broadcast. One of the players commented, brother, he will help with the medicine, but he must not miss the mob battle. Is this Poseidon himself? It looks really cool. Poseidon shouted, Chana, he has to come out. Chana came out to him and asked him why he had come here, the Sea King, and he should not be arrogant. Wu smiled and said, don't get cocky. Well, he thinks they've already messed up themselves, doesn't he? Lai looked at him questioningly and said, Lu Wu, he's so creepy, she doesn't really understand anything yet, but she's afraid that he'll be treated harshly. Chana shouted angrily, Sea King, he's too defiant to enter his territory, would he dare to face the general? The Sea King shouted back, do you need to look me in the eye? If Prince Baki really was here, things would be different. Without him, he is nothing in his eyes. Chana got angry, clenched his huge hands into fists, and shouted, he'll fry them, Sea King, he'll just get rid of the attackers. The Sea King pointed his finger at him and also shouted loudly, what did he say? Finally getting serious. He dared to refuse his offer, he thinks he should have prepared for this battle long ago. These words alerted Chan. He was dumbfounded in disbelief and thought as he continued to stare at the Sea King, should he refuse? He had hoped that Du Yan would agree to the Sea King's proposal, but how did it come to this? The Sea King folded his hands in front of him and continued to stare him in the eye with a menacing expression. Chana suddenly shouted for him to wait for him, Sea King, he thinks there's a misunderstanding between them. The Sea King came very close to him with his fierce eyes and said, everyone, it's too late to regret anything. At this moment, they started a fierce fight among themselves and used their magic powers. The entire area was flooded with bright green light, and Chana asked the Sea King a question, when did he refuse an offer? He began raking the Sea King's magic waves with his hands and wings, getting closer and closer to him with a menacing look, and shouted, he has agreed to sacrifice 100,000 souls every year. Why is he putting so much pressure on him? The Sea King swung his fist in his direction and shouted back, did he dare to tease him? Where did it just come from? Their magic powers collided with each other and they continued to hold off the attack for a short period of time, but suddenly Chana couldn't stand it and flew to the side due to the strong impact. Chana hit the rocks, causing him to break into several pieces, then stopped and wondered what kind of power it was. It turns out that there is such a big difference in strength between him and the Sea King. Chana tried to get out of the Sea King's magical remnants, took a deep breath and said out loud, "Sea King." He agreed to his suggestion. They must have just misunderstood each other. At this moment, he thought, it seems that before breaking through the Ghost King realm, he needs to endure all of this. The Sea King towered over his body, continuing to envelop everything with its magic wave, and asked him again with a haughty expression, "Is that a problem?" He had sent a messenger to reject his offer, and now he was bullying him. At that moment, Chana was dumbfounded and shouted back at him, realizing something. Did he say about the messenger? Was it Duyan who told him that he refused? Duyan seems to be looking for death. There was a startled expression on his face, and he was completely bewildered. The Sea King laughed at his words and said, "It turns out that he has problems with his subordinates. What fun." He addressed Chan by name and asked him a question. Is he still planning to become the new Prince of Baeki? He couldn't even manage an ordinary envoy, and without the Prince of Baeki, he would even lose his land. Chana held his left hand with his right hand, looked at him with rage that was expressed in his bright eyes, and said, "Sea King, now that the truth has come out, there is no need for them to quarrel." He personally tells him that he accepts his offer and is willing to pay 100,000 souls annually. The Sea King revealed his brilliant smile and spoke to him with a devious expression. "All right, the king accepts this offer, but the souls must be erased after this." Chana shouted back at him in an emotional rush. The Sea King asked him again, "What happened? Did he change his mind?" Without Prince Baeki, all they do is bully everyone. He has lived in this world for so long, and does he remember what he was like in the beginning? Chana gritted his teeth in anger, beads of sweat on his face from the stress and annoyance he experienced, and said hesitantly, he accepts his offer. The Sea King raised his trident aloft, rode up on a huge magic wave, and shouted back, "That's it." He laughed and continued shouting that he should go back and give his subordinates a good lesson. He won't be so lucky next time. He continued to laugh out loud, which made Changa very angry, and he clenched his hands into fists in extreme rage and thought, Duyan, how dare he humiliate him like this? He would just destroy him. He won't be able to be reborn again. At that moment, they were being watched by Wu and Lai, who looked at the scene questioningly, and Wu wondered, is that all? The Sea King just leaves. Lai replied, so that's why he spared the life of the soul-crossing messenger. Now Chana is disgraced. After that, she laughed and Wu put on a thoughtful look and said, when he found out about Chang's situation from Duyan, he immediately wanted to take advantage of it. He didn't think that the Sea King would turn out to be such a powerful existence. He wanted them to cripple each other, but in the end, only one side was injured. Where did the Sea King come from in the first place? Lai said to him in addition, he is very strong. He has fought with the Prince of Baeki several times. Wu asked her, did the Sea King fight him? She replied, and this happened quite often. Prince Baeki was far superior in strength to the Sea King. Once she saw him being smeared on the ground, it was painful to watch. So the ancestor was so strong. Even the Sea King who had just nearly killed Chan was a little too strong. The Sea King is very strong, but not so strong. The Huanquan Sea is very large. The Sea King can only be considered as the ruler of a certain area located near the Baeki lands. The Huanquan Sea unites all the great regions and is divided into 7 more parts, but the Sea King is not able to control all of them. Wu said, even if he can't beat the ancestor, but he easily defeated Chan and started dominating the sea area, didn't he? She smiled and said in response that she had heard that the sea area next to the land of Baeki is called the False Sea. The main lord of the False Sea is Bangji, who is so powerful that he terrifies the others. They say that even the Prince of Baeki is no match for them. Wu shouted with an incredible daze, even an ancestor is no match. Then if there is an enemy in the sea that can attack at any moment, aren't they in danger? Lai thought for a moment and said, really, that's also true. At this moment, Wu imagined several ships floating in front of him and shouted, Xiao Lai, he should wait for the Lialai region to be captured, and why form a sea raft? Otherwise, if the Sea King attacks, he thinks they won't be able to resist him. Lai thought about it and answered, she had already thought about it, but first she had to deal with the library. There are many amazing drawings, including the design of the ghost ship. These words alerted Wu and he wondered, is the Ghost King? Lai spoke back to him. A ghost ship is a ship that can only absorb the spiritual materials of heaven and earth, transform them and evolve them, even if the ship is completely destroyed. As long as the core is still there, it can be restored as before by swallowing a large amount of spiritual materials, which is very convenient for gamers. When it's time to get the design blueprints, he can make the original ghost ship and sell it to the player, and then he will change it himself. He came up with an idea and said that then they could start developing a plan for simultaneous land and sea exploration. Lai told him, but Lu Wu, the repairs will require 500,000 coins. Since many of the items in the library were filled with power and souls, if he wanted to fix it, then he would need additional soul power to fill it with energy. He was very surprised by her words and shouted, 500,000. This is too much. They need to find a new way to earn money. They lie, why don't they open an auction house? It will be easier for players to find the items they need if they enter the name of the items in the list bar. They will be able to find items that are displayed by other players at a pleasant price, and players who have moved to a new rank will be able to sell attributes that they do not need. Lai replied with a sly smile. She understood everything. The service fee will be 20% of the item's sale. Wu replied with the same smile. Xiao Lai, she's very smart. She asked him to take a break. She could handle everything in a matter of minutes. He replied, I'll have to try, Xiao Lai. The next day, Lai told Wu to wake up and get up faster. When he opened his eyes, he saw her in front of him with her eyes burning brightly and a knife in her hand, a smile on her face and mocking him. He abruptly jumped out of bed, grabbed the blanket, and shouted at her if she has anything to say, she should put the knife away. She blushed with emotion at Wu's startled appearance and said to him, she found the direction of the assassin's movement. This is a relic of the Zun clan ancestral curse, and it was found by a player. She thinks she will soon meet the assassin. He asked her again, is this shabby thing really that useful? She answered with confidence, of course. This weapon of the Zun clan ancestral curse always considered moving to this clan to become an assassin, a new direction in development. He asked her again, still in a sleepy state, Zun ancestral curse. She replied, the Zun ancestral curse clan was once a very powerful race in the Baki lands. It is said that their clan is connected to hell. Each of their people is a natural killer, possessing the ability to summon demons. The powerful ancestral curse clan killed indiscriminately, harmed the common people of the underworld, and openly insulted the Prince of Baki. He asked her again, and then what happened? She replied with a wave of her index finger, and then it was suppressed by the army led by Prince Baki, and since then, the ancestral curse clan has disappeared from these lands. At first, she thought that she should wait for the equipment warehouse to be repaired and take a look inside, but she didn't expect to find something from the ancestral curse clan in the auction house. She has no idea who put it up for sale, but she only got it for 5 coins, very cheap. She tossed the knife into the air and he asked her again, what about the effectiveness of this thing? What field could an assassin take up? She replied, you need to go to hell to place an ad and then show it. Players should see it too. The system window shows server announcement, updating and adding classes for creating palaces and transfers. Cursed. Profession description. Cursed. Once they were cursed and they rejected religion, deadly holders of this power receive bonuses from curses. Profession features, having the power of a curse, the ability to summon demons. The weapon is a dagger. The requirements are that the player must reach level 30 and possess the assassin class. Hell's Path number 1 is the Night Ripper. You can summon the Night Ripper, which becomes a guardian for 30 minutes, during which time the power of the Night Ripper is added to all damage dealt, and the damage received will be 15%. Hell's Path number 2, Abai. You can summon an Abai that becomes a guardian for 1 minute, during which time the player gains the ability to fly, as well as the ability to select a specific area as the main target for the Abai's attack. Hell's Path number 3, Wise Hashin. One of the 3 extreme paths, the incarnation of the Wise Hashin, summons lasts 1 minute, during which you can control the selected target. Any damage to the owner is reduced by 85%. Practitioners of curses can master 18 demonic forms in the Hell realm, which are divided into 4 levels from low to high. Nyan, Wu, Wori and Jai, among them 3, 9 and 18 are extremely evil, and the difficulty of mastering is extremely difficult. Details can be found in the mobs. Meanwhile, people in the comments put good reviews and 5 stars, and a user named Blade in the shower said, wow, why does he get the impression that those who master all 18 forms will be much stronger than the rest? To be honest, the giant elephant killer is an incredibly strong class, completely satisfying his wishes. He wants to change direction immediately. Cute Izuru wrote, she would really like to understand all this. Isn't it great to fight together with the Guardian? Izuru's bosom friend wrote that she was right. The actor said, but why is everything so complicated? Where is the master? Spring has already come. The Dark Magician wrote, he can't control his middle finger. He asks for help. Requirements for changing your profession have already been released. Scarlet Essence is the first requirement. The minimum level of the assassin player is 30. After accepting the task to change the profession, you need to kill any monsters including players. Then you can get an additional blood essence, collect 10,000 blood essences to open the infernal path 1 and successfully move on to a new path. 3 sources of cursed power. The second requirement for the shift, Abai, you need to find 3 sources of cursed power and transfer to the mob curse, and the second stage will be completed, career growth demon Abai. Third, the form of the Wise Hasheng is not present. Only by sacrificing your life you can learn the meaning of life and death. The player must understand it himself. Spirit Fragment. Fourth, you need to find a spirit fragment, give it to this mob to improve its body. And fifth, at this point, a user named Heartkiller gave 4 stars and asked why some of the requirements are so vague. Is there anything you can understand? The big assassin replied that he thought even the mentor couldn't be here, which was funny. Giant Elephant gave 3 stars and wrote, too abstract, too hard to comprehend the skills yourself. He will wait for someone to release the guide. One Attack gave 5 stars and wrote, of course, the stronger the ability, the harder it is to master, but it's not so difficult. First you just need to kill monsters. Cute Izuru also gave 5 stars and wrote, the Guardian brothers should follow her through the mountains. She will collect 10,000 blood essences and become the strongest. Yuzuruo's bosom friend wrote, "She will definitely become the strongest. Good luck to her." User actor gave 2 stars and said, "What a horror, why the maximum that he can do is hit with a staff." Wu watched the scene and said, "Other than the Night Ripper and Assassin, players are completely indifferent to other promotion methods." Lai replied with the same sad expression, "The curse template is designed well, but it only depends on the player's progress. Especially the wise Hashin, it is not so easy to get hold of it." Wu leaned back in his chair and said in a relaxed state, "At this stage, the shift functions are already fully active, while the hidden functions are inactive." Lai spoke to him one last time, "He just needs to fix the spirit room." He asked her again, "The spirit room?" She replied, "The spirit room was used by the Prince of Baki to store defeated enemy generals and souls who died in battle. There are many souls who once followed Prince Baki for the sake of expanding his domain. This is a large sacrificial building. Among these heroic spirits, there are some very talented warriors and their legacy can be completely absorbed by the battle artifact. They will be able to run several random tasks, and after the player completes this, they will be able to gain the power of inheritance." Wu said, "It sounds great, but they'll need soul coins to repair it, so they'll need to find a way to earn it." The capital of Lun, the headquarters of the Black Sea Technology Company, a large company of employees sat at the table and Director Cheng spoke, "They are still one step behind. Now the more influential domestic game manufacturers have reached a mutual promotion agreement with G&D. He suggests to talk about future plans." One of the employees held his head and shouted, "This can't be happening. Slow footsteps on a commercial battlefield are fatal. He can't think of anything." At this moment, the receptionist looked at her tablet and turned to Director Cheng, saying, "According to the news from Platform 173, there is a more powerful game manufacturer that reached an agreement with this company. They rejected it." He took a deep breath and asked, "Alone? It's better than nothing. She should talk to them and see if they can make progress and try to meet their demands." The receptionist replied, "Okay." Meanwhile, Lu Wu's house, Wu shouted angrily, "Xiao Lai, there are too many game functions to expand, but the soul coins are too few, not enough at all." Lai said, "Actually, his soul coins are growing rapidly, but the consumption is huge. For example, to make it easier for players to move back and forth, he just installed 2 teleportation systems at the junction of the Afterworld and Lialai." He picked up the phone and said hello to someone. Someone asked him if he could tell if it was Mr. Lu Wu. Their Black Sea Tech company just found his contact information through the 173 platform. They hope that their virtual game warehouse can collaborate with their game to promote this. Do they have time to meet up and talk about it in more detail? It seems that Brother Wu has already mentioned something like this. There is no need for a meeting. There is only one question. If she cooperates with him, will he charge a fee? Cheng went to the phone and asked his secretary to give it to him, and he would do the talking. He grabbed the phone, greeted Wu, and said, "Mr. Liu, this is the person in charge of the Black Sea Technology Company. The promotion is intended for mutually beneficial cooperation. Of course, no fee is charged. They are ready to pre-install their games as embedded software. No special download is required for this." Wu replied, "Okay, they're willing to cooperate." Cheng spoke, "Honestly speaking, he didn't expect them to be able to negotiate so easily. Well, he'll have someone prepare a promotion cooperation contract and send it to him." Wu thanked him for this and reflected that even the game warehouse contributes to the stability and growth of players. This can be considered as a good way to advance. Lai looked at her clipboard questioningly and shouted at Lu Wu to look at this. He said, "Some popular player is streaming now. Did he fall into a hole?" She shouted, "This is not an ordinary pit, but a Beimei grave. This player really got there." On the live broadcast, the player was sitting on the ground with his legs straight. Wu looked at it and asked again, "Beimei grave?" She replied, "A type of yin spirit beast unique to the land of Baki is called Beimei, which is a very desirable and noble creature. When the lifespan of such a creature comes to an end, it looks for a secluded place to leave its life inheritance. That's what is called the Beimei grave." Lialai District, a pothole in the dead forest. Sun Kai, the berserker, is in a desperate situation. He said, "What a horror, it's been more than an hour since he fell here. There are only smooth walls around, he can't get out, he even tried to commit suicide. But the green color that penetrates the walls, all sorts of times treated his wounds, what a horror." The system window shows him, Super VIP, his actions will not bring success, no matter how much he tries. Super VIP, he has to do as he says and then get 5 coins. Kai wondered if the man who built such a pit was a real fiend. Did he really enjoy watching people bleed to death? Wu turned to Li and asked if it was okay to listen to him. He had the nickname Super VIP. She replied with a smile, "Yes, he was lucky, she offers to watch." Kai thought about what he needed to forget and how hard he should try. At this moment, he grabbed the huge sword in his hands, he placed a bloody hand on the wall and the system reports, "Faster until the wound is healed." Suddenly, he realized with a fright, his palm was stuck to the stone wall. He can't take it out. A stone wall drains blood. It means that he will finally find peace. In the comments, they wrote to him what they would see in 3 hours and wished him a safe journey. Suddenly, he noticed the bright light rays from the magic and wondered with incredible surprise, the ghost of a deer. Stop, why did his health points go up again? The system informs you, a server announcement appears, and the system congratulates the player Sun Kai on receiving the new Beimei specialization. A lot of magic rays formed around him and someone wrote, before this guy was incredibly lucky, beginners can watch this moment in the replay. He ended up inside the magic dome and the players continued to write in the comments, "Cool, brother, he got a hidden specialty in a hidden location, isn't that great?" At this moment, there was a bright thunder, a loud explosion, which caused everything around to shatter into splinters and someone wrote, "What a horror, my brother is about to break out of the cocoon and change his specialty. They'll see what Beimei will look like, it feels like he's watching, so much action." After a moment, the bright explosion left so much dust, as well as a dog that barked, and the system reports, career panel, player Sun Kai level 21, specialty spiritual, beast Beimei form, professional characteristics, growth attribute increases by 100%, skill inheritance is achieved at 20, 60, 90, 120 levels. He can level up to the second form at level 150. Blood can heal. People in the comments laughed at him and started writing, already snot flew out, they congratulate him, brother, now he's a dog. No, he just had an operation today, you can't laugh so much. What a funny case, he is congratulated on changing his specialty, it's quite cute. Guys, he can also heal, you should make a note of that. He got the beast inheritance, and raising level 1 is equivalent to their level 2, it's too cruel, he also wants to become a dog. Did his attributes also double? He's jealous of it. Brother, would he like to join the Guardian Angel Guild? They need his talent. Brother, the Avengers Guild will help him develop, he should join them. Brother dog, would he like to be his mount? Wouldn't it be great to team up and kill all the ghosts? Wu, when he saw what was happening, said, Zio Lai, if he uses the battle artifact, he won't be able to save the Beimei transfer panel and then restore it again for other players. She replied, no, it depends solely on luck. Other players who want to change careers can only find the place of life that Beimei inherited, like this player, of course this probability is not very high. At this moment, Kai thought, as a low-level player, he didn't have the skills or money to earn it. He could only rely on fighting monsters to slowly improve his equipment. But now it's different. With this hidden profession, he can take a place in the ranks of high-class players, even top players. At that moment, he was covered by a net in the form of a trap and other players began to beat him with clubs in anger. Someone laughed and shouted, they finally caught the corpse wolf, now it's all over. Lai said with a startled expression, wait, brother, it doesn't look like it's a corpse wolf dog. He replied, nothing, in any case, you need to connect it, after all, with the corpse wolf it would not be easy. But here everything is quite simple. She replied, yes, she will try it now. Kai barked loudly as he was tied to a tree, trying to explain that he was a gambler. One of the guys in the raincoat turned to the girl and said, pointing his finger at the Kai, sister, let her look, despite the appearance of this player, it's still a ferocious beast. She must try to instill fear in this beast. He learned this from the trainer. Her eyes lit up with a bright red color and she said, brother, she understood, after which she grabbed the baton and Kai sensed the danger and made a loud sound. At this time, the C and D branch in Lungo country, Alice someone called and she said that she understood everything. She told her subordinate that she had just received news that the person who refused to cooperate with J and D at the last press conference at the 173 platform headquarters had entered into a cooperation with the Black Sea Company. Let them immediately block the game war on the net on the game site they have released. Also, let them report to the headquarters in Country A, let them block this game too. They need to let the game producers in Lungo country know what price they will pay if they dare to refuse J&D. Her subordinate obeyed, while Wu sneezed in the abode of the dead. He asked Li what happened to the player who received Beimei that other players didn't perceive. She replied that the player who was watching the live broadcast couldn't watch it anymore, so he went into the game and saved him. Well, to be honest, it really can be called inhumane. The player was so tortured, he almost died. Wu told her to continue afterward, the soul-crossing messenger is here. Wu donned the guise of a prince, and Du Yan greeted his master. He said that he followed his wishes and went back to Cha Na, tricked him with the tree demon branches of the third ghost, and then Cha Na asked him to go to the Sea Lord to agree to pay tribute. He followed his instructions and lied to the Sea Lord, saying that Cha Na declined the offer. Wu said he was doing great. Did he bring what he asked for? Du Yan confirmed his words and asked, how dare a subordinate delay his master's order? He did everything according to the rules, he got rid of the yin spirits. He fell on his knees in front of him and said that the fact is that he was discovered. He would be very happy if he took him in. Wu picked up the spirit pearl, which contained 230,119 yin spirits, and Lai said that it turns out that this thing is quite suitable for itself. It helps not only the Sea Lord, but also the messenger who crosses souls to collect yin spirits. It's just amazing. Wu praised Du Yan and said that he did a good job. This is his reward. Du Yan's body was flooded with energy and he said that he had lived for 1,000 years, But this was the first time he had experienced something like this. He can manipulate spiritual power and raise its power to a certain level. His servant thanks him for a beautiful gift. Wu told Lai that unlike the players, increasing Duyan's strength wasn't that difficult. The growth of players was like digging channels. They needed to do everything gradually so that there were no misfires. But Duyan is a creature that has been cultivating for 1,000 years. Lai said that everything was easy for him, but it wasn't so easy for Duyan. She thought that besides, Wu had figured out the power formulas so quickly, it was amazing to her. Wu told Duyan that he had a new assignment for him. Duyan looked up at him and asked him to speak quickly. Wu said that he needed to find shelter in the Ghost King's rock. Duyan was horrified and thought, has he been sentenced to life in prison? Wu said that he wanted him to find out about the relationship between the Ghost Rock Lord and General Cha Na, as well as deal with the current situation and report everything to him. Duyan asked, but would the Lord of Ghost Rock believe him? Wu gave him the pearl and said that he would take the Yin Spirit pearls as a gift. Duyan said that he understood and disappeared. Wu told Lai that he had originally planned to return the Yin Duyan Spirit Pearl, so why would he have been forced to collect 150,000 spirits? She replied that thanks to the Yin Spirits, they can step forward. Wu asked, can they step forward? Does she mean teleportation? Isn't it possible to use simple soul power? She replied that it wasn't exactly the same thing. Teleportation can only be constructed in soul power. For steps forward, sacrifices will be needed, in their case, yin souls. Simply put, there is no way to directly build a portal in certain areas of the abode of the dead. They need to sacrifice the yin spirit to build a passageway and open it. This kind of special zone can become a copy of the game they've always wanted to create. She touched his hand and told him that the sacrifices required for the construction were just 150,000 yin spirits. They'll call it the Hell's Path. Wu asked again, Hell's Path. She said that the Hell's Path as a whole is a restricted area in the abode of the dead. There are 18 levels, and demons will be born in them. The further down, the higher the power of the demons. This path is suitable for players to level up, especially assassin players. Many of the materials they need to transfer can also be found on the way, so she suggests starting construction right now. He agreed and she told him that they needed to release all the spirits from the battle artifact. Wu raised his hand up, releasing a bright ray of light into the sky, and Lai said that they need to draw a formation and then sacrifice. A huge portal appeared in the sky and Wu thought that she might sacrifice herself, but even she must have a sense of proportion, right? As soon as the situation becomes suspicious, he will immediately call it off. But suddenly, hands appeared behind him and Lai began to cast a seal. Wu called out to her and asked her what was going on with that hand. Li told him not to call it a hand. This is one of the oldest gods of the underworld, even though he's dead when he was a supreme being. Just now, she had used the ancient sacrificial language to summon his remaining consciousness, hoping to sacrifice these 150,000 spirits in an exchange for passage to the path of hell. Huge hands made a pass and Wu asked, so he agreed. Lai confirmed his words and said that otherwise, this passage would not lead to success, because he is the god in charge of one of the forbidden areas. Even after death, he will remain the only god of the hell path. Wu looked deeper into the passageway and asked, does this mean they will have to address him again in the future? Lai confirmed his words and said that all forbidden areas contain remnants of the consciousness of ancient gods, which is why these areas are called forbidden. Wu asked if every forbidden area had to be gifted by the gods to become open. To unlock more new zones, he must figure out how to get more yin spirits next time. Lai said that she has never actually been on the path of hell. She wants to go there and see for herself. Wu asked, isn't it dangerous? She told him not to worry, she would use the condensed body of yin energy to leave, it wouldn't be dangerous. She will hide her identity by joining a team of players, so everything will be fine. A few seconds later, an announcement appeared on the server that new features of the game were opened. A hellish path is open, players need to turn to mobs for help. Hell's Path includes 18 levels that players can use to upgrade and gain experience. Each level has several boss-level monsters and countless powerful creatures. They can contact the mob for more details. 8 people are required for a group pass. The minimum number of participating teams is 10. The time limit is 1 hour. Upon seeing this message, the game's forum immediately started sending messages. One of the players wrote that large-scale copies require teams of at least 10 people. Are the requirements that high? Another player said that solo players pass by, they will have to look for a team. Another player said that the assassin team is recruiting people so they can work together. Another player wrote that there is still a time limit, they only have an hour. They are not happy. At this time, Zuru was at the entrance of the hell path. She went to the mob who was giving the copy guide and her brother said that there were 30 people gathered, they can start. She agreed, and the system reported that teleportation to Hell's Path was enabled. Lai mingled with the crowd and they arrived at the first level of the infernal path. The players said it was a real hell of an environment, it's so cool. The lava is so hot, he's starting to bleed. Zuru told them not to touch anything, they just need to go forward in groups. According to the copy guide, there are many valuable materials and treasures in this copy. Let them watch carefully, they can't miss anything. They agreed, and her brother walked up to the lava waterfall and started taking damage. He told his sister to look at it and she exclaimed that he was bleeding. Let him go. He said it doesn't matter, only one drop of blood is spilled every 5 seconds. Let her come here, there's a cave behind this magma wet cloth. There must be a treasure hidden inside. They entered the cave and the players said that everything is different here. It was terribly hot outside, but it was very cold in here. Zura thought that this cave was gloomy and so scary, but she is the head of the guild and she shouldn't lose face. She needs to be in the front row. No one can understand that she is afraid. Suddenly there was a sound and she asked what it was for her. Cheng slammed the weapon down on the ground and she exclaimed, "What is he doing?" He scared her. He said there was nothing to be afraid of, her brother was here. Zura replied that she was afraid of the sound he made. As it is, she's not afraid of anything. He apologized to her and said that he thought there might be a treasure in there. Zura said that it makes sense, so they need to start digging. They started digging and the guild member said he couldn't take it anymore, he was so tired. This sarcophagus can't be destroyed, no matter what they do, it's all useless. Cheng said he was so angry. Wasn't it possible to set the switch? The gameplay leaves much to be desired. If they want him to install a switch, let them click on and off, would just be convenient. Someone laughed and asked, would he like to install a flip top? Lee walked over to the sarcophagus and thought that there must be something else in addition to this. She said the touchscreen has become more advanced. All eyes immediately turned to her, and Cheng asked what they should do. It looks like you won't be able to get the treasure. Zura said that it seems they can only give up, memorize the location, and wait until they gain strength before opening the coffin. Bangji called out to Zuru and said that she found something. There are 3 stone altars here, but they are made of the same material as sarcophagi, she can't destroy them. One of the players approached the jug and said that it was similar to the ones buried in their village. If they were lucky, there would be old alcohol inside that had been sealed by others for many years. And if you're not lucky, there may be remnants of your ancestors inside. Zur and Bangji together said that it was so disgusting. Zur said that since they can't open them now, they can go out and spend time exploring other places. She thought that she didn't want to come up with anything weird. Lee peeked around the corner and thought, if she doesn't want it, then she'll take it. She waved her hand, vaporizing the pictures. A few minutes later, Ziru's group came out of the cave and voices were heard asking for help. Ziruo saw a trio of players below who were running away from someone, and one of them noticed Ziruo and said that they finally ran into other teams, let them help them. Zuru looked closely and saw an egg in their hands. Cheng exclaimed, they're going to have to deal with the first boss on this level, and why didn't they just try to deal with it on their own? If they tried to get any closer, he would kill them. The players continued to approach them and he told them not to approach. Zur turned around and told the others that they needed to get to the cave faster. They can't handle this boss. They entered the cave and the player said that the dragon was stuck in the opening. They are safe. Zur turned around and grabbed her dagger, telling the player to give her the dragon egg. She threatened him with a dagger and the guy asked her to wait and said that even if he gave it, it would still be useless. This dragon egg can't be taken into their personal space, otherwise they wouldn't have to keep it all the way and chase away the fire dragon. At the same time, Zur injured him and said that he was the one who got them into trouble and now she has to kill people and distill goods. Isn't that too much? She caught the egg and the system reported that items with signs of life cannot be placed in your personal space. She asked me if I really shouldn't. The dragon is still outside. They will die when they get out of here and the dragon egg will die with them. Aren't eggs useless? The egg cracked and Lai thought that the dragon egg would hatch soon. The time was right, then she would help her. She used the artifact and a small dragon hatched. A system announcement appeared that congratulated player Zur on acquiring a personal pet, the fire dragon baby. Zur asked again, pet. Cheng was overjoyed and said that she was a real lucky girl. She needed to quickly look at her pet's stats. The system reported that this is a fire dragon that lives in areas of high temperatures all year round, has fire resistance. Pet characteristics, strength 4, agility 4, stamina 4, will 6. The qualification is high. At the moment there are no skills, but with growth, the pet will gain skills. To grow, the pet needs to absorb a special attribute. Pets can be revived by purchasing pet resurrection pills from the store after they die. The dragon started circling around its new master and Zuru said that the dragon looks weak, it takes time to cultivate, how troublesome it is. The dragon hugged her and she said that it is so cute, she will still have time to raise it. She thought that murder and theft were more in her nature. Meanwhile, at Wu's house, a portal appeared in his room, from which Lee jumped out and he said that she was back. She was secretly developing pets for players. She confirmed his words and asked, isn't this the right time for the dragon egg to appear? She had just used her battle artifact. Pets are in the state of a baby. After hatching they are just beginning to interact with a new world, not yet understanding anything. If it was a large dragon, she's afraid she wouldn't be able to seal it with an artifact. Unfortunately, almost all of the pets were sealed, so there were some difficulties. The fire dragon would be at the spirit beast level, just as she had expected, but for now, it was only mid-rank. Wu smiled and said it was okay, she had updated the game, so she did a good job. When he found out that it was possible to get pets, he immediately set the resurrection price at 30 soul coins, which is a great way to earn money. He patted her on the head and she said they had other problems. Initially, they wanted to revive Beiki by taking advantage of the player army, but now conflicts between different player forces are becoming more frequent. For example, this time there was an egg-grabbing incident because of Zur. It would definitely increase the conflict between guilds. If players work together, they will have the opportunity to create a single army. Wu agreed and said that he had also thought about it. After all, players are diverse and it's impossible for them to fully unite. They need to rely on something, so he wasn't messing around while she was on Hell's path, but was developing a way for the players to let off steam. Its idea is very simple. It is to build a huge battlefield of 100 cities in space. All guilds with more than 500 members can register to participate in this guild power competition. The mode is Capture the Flag. A flag will be placed in the center of each city, and any guild occupying the city can convert this empty flag into the flag of their guild. Of course, they would be able to take down the flag. Even if a guild took over a city and changed the city flag, players from another guild would still be able to take it back. This is a large-scale power competition that focuses on early-stage siege warfare and later-stage city defense. It lasts for half a day. After the time has elapsed, the top 100 guilds will be selected from the guilds guarding the city, and they will be awarded rewards. It will be an epic battle. Lai's eyes lit up with anticipation and said that even if he could transform Yin energy and create a city, it would still be very difficult and large-scale. It will take a long time to build such a large number of engineering structures. Wu scratched his head and said that she was right, which was why the event was still in preparation. But he has another piece of news. They've finally accumulated 200,000 soul coins, so they can start building the spirit room. She was happy and said that then the players will also be able to get a lot of new things. An announcement has appeared on the server that new professions and research have been opened. The limit is 10 people. They can learn more from their mentors. A sun shooter appeared in front of Wu and Lai, and Wu said that there were many others in the spirit room, so why should he choose this one? She replied that it was because he was a courtier of Lord Beikai. Sun Shooter was once the #1 shooter under the Beiki Prince's throne. His shooting skills are the best in the Beiki country. The power has almost reached the Ghost King. However, in the battle to destroy the clan, it was ordered to attack the shooter and kill him. The death of the solar arrow greatly saddened the prince. He was helpless. Eventually, the prince was able to place his soul in the spirit room, allowing future generations to worship his heroic spirit. Lai was upset and Wu said that the past was in the past. There was no need to grieve anymore. They can start creating the future together. She agreed and took out her bow, saying that to use the greatest power inherited from the everyday shooter, the player must have an essence. However, since their online war is not just a game, but a very real-world one, archery is not something that everyone can master. They must first select the players who want it. Wu replied that it would be easy. He uses a battle artifact to build a training field and start challenges, then choose the top 10 players worthy of receiving the inheritance of the heroic spirit of the Sun Shooter. The next day, 258,579 players arrived at the training field. The system reported the rules. The tests are divided into a 50-meter fixed target, a 100-meter fixed target, and a 150-meter movable target, with a total of 3 rounds of the archery test. Everyone has 5 rings, and if they hit the red spot, they will get 10 points. And the other outer rings, in turn, are reduced by 1 point. If they hit the target, but do not hit the ring, they will receive 5 points. Players in each level will have 5 opportunities to shoot arrows, and the 10 people with the highest number of points will inherit the hidden profession of a solar shooter. The first round of shooting at 50 meters began. First place goes to the estate player Lai Lin, second to Su Mu, third to Yi Cheng, and fourth to Mo Lingshan. Each of them has 50 points. Cheng thought that he needed to shoot a couple of arrows. That sounds easy. The second round began, shooting at 100 meters. In the first place is Mo Lingshan, and in the second place is Cheng. Each of them has 100 points. Lai Lin is in third place with 97 points, and Su Mu is in fourth place with 95 points. Cheng found himself in the middle and was very surprised. He came here for fun, but he even got to the core. He didn't really try. So he's a genius. He hit the target again several times in a row and thought, why does the arrow hit the target directly? After that, the system reported that the inheritance ranking is as follows. The top 10 players will start moving to inheritance. In the first place is Chen, the number of 150 points. Mo Lingshan is in second place with 149 points. Lai Lin is in third place with 143 points, and Su Mu is in fourth place with 141 points. Cheng smiled and said that he was a genius. That's the power. Wu told Li to start transmitting. She agreed and said that she had forgotten to say something. To make players more adaptable to the inheritance, they must pay him 200 soul coins for the sake of reconfiguring their body. Wu exclaimed, what did she say? The system informed Cheng that he had successfully upgraded to Sun Shooter. Let them click on the attributes panel to see detailed career information. The field will continue to run for 30 minutes, let him hurry up and adapt to his new skills. Sun Shooter, the legacy of Prince Baki's first shooter. Sunny Shooter is obsessed with archery and has been training hard for decades. Until his old age, he never achieved great achievements in archery. On one occasion, he accidentally came across the figure of a great emperor passing by in the rays of the setting sun at dusk. Looking at the sky full of sunfire, an epiphany occurred in his heart. Since then, he has become aware of the breath of the sun, and his lifespan has increased. Archery became faster, and in just 3 years, he became the #1 marksman in Baki. The solar shooter uses a bow and arrow, and every attribute upgrade is necessary for career growth. The player can get an additional passive bonus Hawkeye and an additional skill Breath of the Sun. There are skills of solar scattering, sliding step, and arrow of destruction. Hawkeye is a passive skill that allows visual abilities to develop, and the long and short focal lengths of the pupils are adjusted independently. The sun's breath consumes 100 units of energy. Each shot consumes 1 solar breath. It consumes additional energy and recovers 1 point every 3 seconds. Solar scattering expends 5 points, and the player can fire 5 sun breath arrows at the same time to deal damage from a distance. 3 points are spent on a sliding step. The player can use the breath of the sun and quickly slide over a short distance. This can be used to dodge attacks, to get close to opponents. The arrow of destruction consumes all remaining energy. The player can combine full-body solar power, build arrows from the energy, and deliver a fatal blow. However, there is no need to pick up an arrow while using this skill. This profession will move to the second stage after the player reaches level 100 and completes career development. For more details, the player can contact their career coach. After seeing the description of the solar shooter, players began to write that this is cool. 10 airs, simple techniques, cool abilities. Another player wrote that if you were born to crawl, you can't fly. Even if you were given arrows and a bow, you still can't do anything with them. Another player agreed with him and wrote that this profession requires a talent for archery, and most people do not know how to do this. Cheng pulled the bowstring and thought that he had just changed his specialty and gained 3 skills. He's still a little worried when he thinks about it. Now it's time to surprise the audience. He used Star Crash, but missed the target. Cheng felt uneasy and said that he had stumbled a little. He thought that it was time for him to stop pretending. It was time to get serious about business. He fired again, but the arrow missed the target and he exclaimed, "What is it?" He needs to try again. He fired again, but missed the target and said it couldn't be. He fired again, using the breath of the sun, and missed. He exclaimed that he didn't believe it. He used the arrow of destruction skill, but again he missed the target and failed. He thought that he had realized a very serious problem. All the arrows had run out. One of the players asked, wasn't he the first in the ranking? He can't understand how this could have happened. Another player said that this is clearly an indicator that nothing will work out without talent. Zura said that he had never shot a bow before. How did he get such precision? But after the second attempt, everything became clear to her. Another player said that maybe he turned off automatic aiming. Another player asked why his skills were acquired undeservedly. Another player said he thinks they can get rid of him. Cheng gathered his strength and thought that it would still be useful. He picked up a dagger and said that he was originally an assassin. It goes without saying that he can't shoot arrows, so he'll just go back to his old profession. But he let go of the dagger and the system informed him that he had changed his profession to solar archer. His weapon was a bow and arrow, and the blade was no longer under his control. Cheng thought that at this moment, he finally realized how good he was. It is not easy to cherish a career with a bright future. He came to take part in the archery challenge. Can he return to his previous profession? The system reported that of course he couldn't do it. At this time, an explosion occurred in the Lilai area. Cha Na struck the ground with his flaming sword and cursed at Du Yan, exclaiming how dare he betray him. He made him humiliate himself in front of the Sea Lord. He'll blow it to shreds as soon as he catches it. His subordinate said that there might be some difficulties in catching Du Yan at the moment. The ghost soul messenger got down on one knee in front of him and said that according to the latest news, Du Yan had taken refuge in the Ghost Lord's rock, dedicating all of his yin spirits to him. Cha Na turned around in surprise and asked again, yin spirits? The soul messenger replied that Du Yan had escaped with all of his yin spirits. Cha Na fell into shock and thought that not long ago, he personally promised the Sea Lord to pay out 100,000 yin spirits. What should he do now? Moreover, he was originally supposed to break through the Ghost King realm, and these yin spirits were the key to everything. What could he expect now? On one side is the Sea Lord, and on the other side is the Lord of Ghost Rock, and both of them are much stronger than him. Now he can't even break through, so what should he do? The Soul Emissary said that the Lilai area is pinned down by the Sea Lord and the Ghost Rock Lord. It has become unsafe here after Du Yan's betrayal. Why don't they change their camp? They would wait for him to make a breakthrough, and then they would draw up a detailed plan of action. Cha Na replied that he thought it was a good option, but what about Lilai district? The messenger told him not to worry. Once he made a breakthrough, they would be able to rule over all of Prince Baki's lands. Otherwise, after the arrival of the Sea Lord, she doesn't think there will be anything left of them alive. The consequences will be terrible. Chana said that he hoped everything would end well and they would be back in 10 days. His subordinate agreed, and at this time, it was raining on the streets of the city. Some guy asked a friend of his, did he hear that? Yesterday, the two guilds clashed again in battle. One of the swordsmen was striking everyone with his strength. He would like to learn from it. They walked past the man and the guy agreed and asked, but who even allowed the guardian angel people to take the egg? What treacherous people they are. The man blocked their path and asked, were they talking about a swordsman? Let them tell you where he is. The guy got scared and asked who he was. Is he some kind of cosplayer? The man grabbed his arm and told him to answer, where did he meet the swordsman? The guy exclaimed that he was in pain and replied that it was in the game or on the net. The man let him go and thought, is the war online? The guy said he was crazy, he squeezed his hand so hard. His friend suggested that he not attract his attention. Meanwhile, at Wu's house, Lee looked at the drawn characters and asked Wu what he was up to. He said that to make the gameplay more intense, he developed several new mobs. For example, a group of chefs and an old man with a goatee who will teach players how to collect various herbs to make poisons. Lee said he was so thoughtful about everything. Wu said that in the end, players are the key to fulfilling Lord Beikai's last wish. They should try to attract as many new players as possible. Suddenly, Goi called him and said that he congratulated him. The tournament for the best game of the month had just ended, where War on the Net took first place. Wu smiled and thanked him for his support and help. Goi said he was too polite. By the way, it's time for him to start thinking about soundtracks. If he has any difficulties, he can always contact him. He knows a few celebrities who would be willing to take up the design of the melody. Wu replied that if he needed his help, he would call right away. He ended the call and told Lee not to look at him like that, he can't sing or write music. Lai said it looked like they would have to hire special people, but it would cost them a lot, right?